everybody, and welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards Subject to Change. I am back this week.
Oh, my God. He's not a dead ghost.
I would say, did you miss me? But Jesse proved in the first 2.5 minutes he didn't.
All right, here, I'll do this for you.
There we go. Welcome
go.
back.
All right.
Welcome back.
Little clapping.
Yeah,
for him.
all right, so we're going to get a couple of things out of the way before we get to the cards. First and foremost, what a loaded stack of cards we got. Holy shit.
It was a busy week.
Oh, my God.
Very
like
busy, boys.
Every day that I opened up my phone app for Facebook, all of a sudden there was another story out there, and we're going to try to get to all of it here. But, folks, I want to start off saying, so what I did last week was a lot of fun, mostly probably due to a COVID situation, being able to see all my friends, do something special with them. It was a lot of fun. But you guys did a fantastic job last week.
Thank you.
I've listened to it multiple times. You guys were great. But I just want to say, this is what I was hoping Leroy and I were going to create back when we first started, was we were going to get a group together that could do a show that was versatile, that could bring different people in and do type stuff. And, you know, Leroy's always said, if he's ever busy on a Sunday, Jesse and I are more than welcome to come in and do a show without you if you've got something going on.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just, I felt so bad because obviously Friday I knew this was happening, but then Friday the news of New Jack came out.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job on that, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know what there really was to do because, again, I go back to what Paul said. I guarantee we all thought it was a joke at first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee we all thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
And and what's interesting is that it's not a mainstream guy unless you're a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But the stuff that's come out, the stories, everything that's been told since, it's been so much fun. To death. I love New Jack for basically making white people angry.
Oh yeah.
It's just, we come on here and the veil has been removed. The punch heard around the world. We all know the story. We're not going to tell it again.
Yeah.
But if there was anything in wrestling that you could always look at and say that even when the veil got pulled back, you realized was real, that was New Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the one interesting part is, and we talked about it, just after a couple of days somebody put the GoFundMe up, they raised over $10,000.
Oh, of course.
I mean, that is so nice, and they got some deals going on where they're gonna sell some toys, some T-shirts, and everything that's gonna go right to the family. So
that's good.
And honestly, it's gonna sound weird, but while I'm not the biggest fan of modern day deathmatch, although I've said CZW does a fairly good job.
They do a fairly good job of it.
Here's the thing, folks. What I think made me tear up the most was when Paulie said, we never had a license to use natural born killers, but we in and of ourselves were a little bit gangsta.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I was like, because, I asked Gene before we really talked about CZW on the show. He always said, ECW, it was never deathmatch.
No.
The weapons had a place. The weapons made sense. Everything was in context.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, Jim Cornette blames the run in ECW for why maybe New Jack never got bigger. But would you want to remember New Jack in any other way than the way he's now remembered as the ECW original?
No, I wouldn't want it any other way.
When Paul said the highlights are the most un-PG highlights ever.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Oh my God. And I love Paul when he said eulogies, they're hard because there's no way to make it sound like it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
And what I like is, when New Jack basically hijacked Jim Cornette's interview that one time and came in going, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? I was just like, it's just, towards the end, it seemed like he was never angry about anything, and I don't think he would have cared that Paul said what he said because, I mean, shit in this business happens, but when you get to be 45, 60 some years old, like, what's the point anymore? I mean, New Jack's biggest run was in ECW.
Yeah.
New Jack had some great moments in Smoky Mountain, even though there was the issues with Cornette towards the end, but, I mean, New Jack did a lot for Jim. New Jack did a lot for Paul. Just everything, and it's like if only Ice Cube had known that Natural Born Killers was being used, I feel like he would have said yes.
After he would have met New Jack, he would have been like, "Yeah, that's fine.
You're a gangster. You got
It's always funny to me because obviously
he's there from Compton, so he was like, "Yeah,
exactly.
no problem."
But just it's always funny because obviously NWA were real life what they were.
Yes.
But the thing is, I don't think any of them would look at New Jack and be like, we're harder than him. Ain't nobody was harder than New Jack, all right? Like,
no.
Just ask Mass Transit, who was just enjoying the afterlife, and then New Jack showed up. The memes, by the way, were hilarious because they were always in fun.
Yeah.
They were always in an upbeat way. New Jack walking in with the shopping cart full of weapons, him walking into heaven going, "Who runs this bitch? Because I do now." And I was just like, it was so good. But a lot of props to you guys. I was super proud to listen to the show. It was great. But like I said, for those of you who might think, well, on a human level, I didn't want you to do the show without me, but that's a human level.
Yeah.
But then the wrestling fan in me knows the show must go on. but also when I listened to it and I realized that it was the same energy that we always have no matter what, I sat there and I was like, this is what I wanted, was we can do a show in multiple ways, we can still have fun, we can still do our thing, and it was just great to listen to. So I mean, seriously, big props to you guys. Thank you for doing that.
And I worked on the entrance music and the Eggs music.
I did, yeah. No, I did hear that.
Works,
I still think we should cut about 10 seconds off the entrance, but
I
mean,
people said that about the Undertaker for like 20 years.
That's fair. So
and
anyway,
we're still doing it after 20 years.
I'm
gonna have a very good intro music.
He's still walking to the ring,
right? Yeah, folks. We have so many cards to get through. So much stuff to do.
Where are we gonna start?
I have decided, even though I told these guys all week what we were gonna do, to just get it out of the way because it's so emotional. Leroy, this day in wrestling history, if you would, so we can just get past this because this is going to make us all tear up.
All right.
And if you forget, one, I'll start. The first one I will start. We have to still remember Hana Kimura. It's been a year since her untimely passing.
22, I believe.
Yeah, folks, here's the deal. The internet is probably the single greatest invention that has ever existed when you look at it on the surface. But I'm not going to go on a diatribe about cyberbullying, but look, okay, this past week I had to deal with something in my personal life in which, to me, it wasn't a big deal. But my lovely fiance has anxiety and depression issues, so something small snowballed, and she pretty much had a panic attack. You can't look at the world through your own vacuum. Like, if someone said shit about me on the internet, I'm not going to care.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to mostly talk shit back. But, folks, think about what you say, is all I got to say. There was no reason for what happened, and she really was one of the bright young aces coming up
she was.
in Japan in the female scene.
Yes, she was.
And it's like, I mean, dare I say she was the Paige of the wrestling scene in Japan.
She was actually getting to a point where they wanted her, when they do the combination Stardom New Japan shows or Stardom.
She was going to be at Wrestle Kingdom at some point.
She was going to be at Wrestle Kingdom probably within the next year or two.
Oh, easily,
So last year hearing about her, during the beginning of the pandemic.
So
stunk.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, look, folks, for those of you who are angry that, the people that did it were not punished more. Japan's got a different idea on what the laws are. They got a different idea on things. As a friend of mine has always pointed out, feudal Japan is a place where the only thing you have to do, there's only one rule, and that's survive as long as possible. Prime example, the creator of one of the greatest, in my opinion, manga animes of all time, Rurouni Kenshin, it's like, oh my god, there was never any filler, and even when it was filler, it was just good. The creator went to jail for about, I think it was like 4 or 5 years over child porn. But everyone's like, only 4 or 5 years. In America, that's like a lifetime sentence. I'm like, Japan deals with things a little bit differently.
They have a different culture when it comes to those things.
Right.
We'll just say that.
And I can still support his art without supporting him as a person.
Yeah.
But it's just, look, can we just put to bed the anger of it and just try to not do it again?
Yeah,
that's really all I'm saying. And I'm not going to get too more into this because the next one's going to make me cry.
All right. This is going to be a little bit long one.
Yep.
All right. 21 years ago, it was at Over the Edge from Kemp Arena in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, I know what this one is.
And everybody remember it's scheduled face-off between Owen Hart and the Godfather for Intercontinental Championship, and he was coming as a Blue Blazer.
Yep.
That was the unfortunate accident where he fell to his death.
There was an episode of the Dark Side of the Ring, which personally, I'm never gonna fault anyone for their feelings when they do that, because one thing I've noticed about Dark Side of the Ring guys, they really let people just be themselves.
They just let them kind of like talk about what happened.
Right. And while I understand the anger that Owen's family has for Vince, you're a professional crew. You should know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a lot, and Vince did wonderful things for this too.
Yes.
Honestly, the death was acknowledged to the home viewers. No one in attendance knew.
Right.
The only footage of the fall exists in the WWE library with specific instructions not to watch, copy, or distribute.
Right.
It never aired on pay-per-view.
No.
And the reason why is because there was a pre-match Vigilant going on right now at that time that was going on. So it's at that. And as for the event itself, Over the Edge, has never been released on home video in any form.
No.
And in fact, the first commercial release of the event was on February 24th of 2014 on the WWE Network when it launched.
Right.
And all reference to Owen has been removed from the broadcast, and events of the evening are mentioned prior to the beginning of the video with a tribute graphic.
Here's the thing. Vince never tried to cover up what happened, and I know people always try to act like he tried to cover it up. Folks, look, I've done some things live. You just keep going sometimes, and you don't know what to do in the moment because nobody can sit there and stop and figure it out. But it's just, I am not here to tell Owen's family how they should feel about this.
Yeah.
I want to make that very clear.
Yeah.
Just like I've said on the show that I'm not telling Jesse how he should feel about racism in wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm not telling Owen's family how they should view the WWE. But I can take a step back because it's not my family. And I can look at this and I can say, that's a professional crew. Y'all should have known what the hell you were doing.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was never tested with a dummy or something like that, it's like the fact that it was never tested with a giant mat at the bottom type of situation. Like I said, I don't want to say too much on it because it's obviously been told 1,000 times. We're not going to go through it. But I don't blame Vince. Did he handle it the best way? No. But how do you handle it?
It's touchy because, remember, Eddie overdosed before their event.
Right.
And I can't... See, and the problem was I was technically supposed to go.
Right.
The news spread throughout Minneapolis because, of course, the event was in Minneapolis.
Right. Yeah.
And it was I ended up not going. I think a lot of people ended up not going.
Also,
I think they still did the pay-per-view, but
it was done.
It was a Raw.
It was Sunday night.
Yeah.
After a show.
That's right. That's right.
It was going into.
But
Raw.
can I also point something out before you continue there, Jesse? That was the first story I've ever read. And I'm serious, where Vince legitimately was hanging on the word of one Chavo Guerrero Jr. Well, do we even do the show?
Yeah.
And Chavo, being from the Guerrero family, said, "Oh no, you're doing it."
Because in Mexico, even when one of their stars dies, they still move on.
Right. Right.
It's like I said, it's.
So you think Vince is this evil man, but again, Chavo Guerrero, who probably has never had as much pull in America as he's probably had in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, to think he could have stopped Monday Night Raw, the machine that it still is today. To think Chavo had that in his hand and could have created a moment that would have never been ever done again in wrestling to stop the machine for his uncle.
Yeah.
And he just said, "No, you got to do it." So I mean, just folks, there's never a. But going back to what Paul said about eulogizing New Jack, there's no way to do something without making it suck.
Yeah.
There's no way to do anything to not remind yourself this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
My grandfather's 93 years old. Okay, and this man has lived a life that very few people could ever say they've lived.
Oh yeah.
He's pissed off Kiss. I'm not even joking.
You told us that story
He's pissed
too.
off
so.
Kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, at some point he's gonna pass away in the very near future. And I don't normally cry. Will I? I don't know, because obviously I don't know when.
Yeah.
But I'm going to deal with that my way, and if somebody looks at me and says, don't you think you should take some more time, I'm going to look at them and say two things. Number one, this man worked his whole life, taught himself how to be an accountant for a major mining company, and never went to college.
That's amazing.
He did well.
Yeah.
And he'd be the first person to tell me if he was still alive, get your ass to work, because you got to take care of your future wife there.
Yeah.
But the fact is that I'd also look at someone and say, there's nothing that I could do to grieve that's not going to remind me how much this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, Leroy, you recently lost a member very close to you of your family. And,
it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. But, I was there for that. You took a couple of days off of work. But I remember some people saying when you came back, they weren't being mean to you, but they would pull me aside and say, well, hey, shouldn't Leroy be gone a little more? I mean, you talk to him like, he knows this sucks. But he's got to go to work. He's got to take care of his kids. He's got to do the right thing. So, it's like, folks, look, Vince McMahon is going to go to his grave with a lot of sins. I don't hold this one against him.
No.
I can't. No. Because in my mind, like Paulie said, you can't do something like that and not remember that it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, as a couple more things.
Yep.
We move on to a little bit better stuff here.
Yeah.
That's not as depressing. All right. 16 years ago on Raw from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Not too terribly far away from here.
Yeah,
Something good happened in Green Bay?
Yeah, it did.
That's a shock.
It was very interesting. Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, and Paul Heyman, owners of the Big Three promotion of the Monday Night Wars, stood in the ring at the same time to promote ECW One Night Stand.
That's right. That was in Green
But
Bay.
Yeah.
Also,
that was the eulogy.
That's right.
And
that was the end officially.
But it was not the first time that all three of them were in the same ring at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The 2004 WWE Draft Lottery a year earlier, they were all together.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
But they were never in the ring. They were on the ramp.
Yeah.
So they were in the same arena together.
Yes.
But they'd never been. Yeah.
Yeah. On screen.
Yeah.
And then we got a couple birthdays.
All right.
It's happy 30th birthday to Patrick Martin. Some people might know who he is, but he is Alex Shelley, one half of the Motor City Machine Guns with Chris Sabin.
He's only 30 years old, but I think he's been wrestling since he's like 15.
Well,
so he looks so much older.
Alex, he's 38. He's still young.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the
38. Sorry.
38, yeah.
Yeah, 38. Well, but okay, think about it. Drew's not as old as people think, but
I think he's 34 or 35.
But Drew's got those battle scars from years of the business, so it's like you forget. Well, again, you forget how long Alex Shelley's been going.
Since he's like a teenager.
Oh, yeah. Alex Shelley, one of the few people that's been invited by WWE to be a guest trainer.
Yeah.
But never signed a contract. Well, he's short term to team up with Kushida.
Yeah.
Which was super cool.
Which was super cool.
Folks, one of those guys that honestly, I never considered him and Chris Sabin high flying. I just thought they were super athletic.
They were always, to me, they were actually more technical wrestlers.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
they were modern technical.
One thing I give them credit for is the smaller guy who's just like, listen, do I have to always put my body on the line? And they're like, dude, no. Because they were one of the first smaller wrestlers to use a quicker technical style.
Right.
But their speed was a part of how they told their technical wrestling stories. Which day, now we have Johnny Gargano.
To this day, one of the most flawless tag teams you'll ever see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still
and
going strong.
The next birthday is...
Got to watch them versus the Briscoes.
Yeah.
That was...
We got one more birthday. WWE Hall of Famer on the celebrity side.
All right.
63-year-old, 63rd birthday to Andrew Allison Carey, otherwise known as Drew Carey. He is in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
But it is, yeah, 63.
A legend in both comedy and now game show hosting.
Yes.
The Price is Right has not lost a step, in my opinion. Was not the person I think anyone would have chosen from the beginning, but he's definitely grown into that role.
I would have thought he actually was a good choice because he did Who's Line for like 8 years before that, and he was really, really good. Had a sitcom before that.
And you know whose birthday was yesterday? Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Officially 40.
The free agent.
Officially
the free
40.
agent.
The free agent.
Bryan Danielson.
As their team.
I don't know.
I really hope he does not go anywhere else.
I don't know.
I hope so.
I don't know if he actually is a free agent anymore.
I hate to say it, but
I think he's just taking a break.
Is it me,
Hopefully.
or would seeing him in ROH almost seem like a letdown at this point? And I'm being no offense to Ring of Honor,
not completely, because he was one of the 5 big heads that helped build it to what it was.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that him going back there for a run at this point doesn't make any sense.
It would seem odd for sure, but like I said, a big part of me does not think he's going. I know people are like, "Oh, when is he going to show up to do something?" Like, listen, he's a 40-year-old man. He's already admitted he wants to be there for his kids more,
right?
And while his body is still in shape enough for him to enjoy them growing up.
Well, but I think everybody has to understand. I mean, as much as we love him, I don't think any of us want to be Mick Foley at Mick Foley's age. No, it just
I mean, he's a pretty beaten up man.
Oh yeah. Cactus Jack certainly not really banging as much anymore. To say that much. All right.
What is next?
All right. So folks, we're gonna cross a couple of things off. Jesse, I have a question for you, sir.
Uh-oh.
Is it finally time that we do that which is considered to be the lowest form of art in all of wrestling? Is it?
Do you mean?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Is it finally time that the salesman sells us on him being the NWA World Champion? Is it finally time to make Yano the NWA Heavyweight, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion?
Oh, man.
Because I think at this point he's the only person who's not going to get hurt with that belt, man.
Listen, Yano, just keep being you. Just keep you beautiful son of a gun.
But can I just say this? What if they did a quick tournament? And if it's a tournament in New Japan, of course you got to have Yano. What if he just backs into it?
He just kind of cheats his way all the way to the top of the shot. I mean, I don't know why they've never pulled the trigger on this story.
That's what I'm saying, man.
They really do believe in honor up there, and actually, like, even the heels, even if they cheat.
And here's the deal: Yano's been doing this for how long, basically?
Man, almost 15, 20 years now.
Okay, so think about this. At the 15, 20-year mark, especially in Asian culture,
yeah.
He's a veteran. He's a legend. He is.
He really is.
Even if it's a Lifetime Achievement Award, why the hell not?
Yeah,
why the hell not?
And people are going, what are they talking about? Well, people are listening. Yes, we're referring about Will Ospreay. His neck injury and
Will
having
Ospreay
to unfortunately relinquish the titles.
Has had to vacate the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And no, it is not because he didn't want to be associated with that Divas Championship belt anymore. He actually is hurt.
Really is hurt. He is home.
He actually is
England.
hurt.
I would have actually been proud of him for that.
But no, but I mean,
New Japan, I'm not coming back to you. Redo the belts. This sucks.
but Jesse, more. I hate to say it, for the first time in maybe the last 5 years, the most consistent wrestling promotion is actually the WWE.
Yeah, I was going to say.
New Japan.
New Japan has had a rough year and a half. Actually, you know what? To be honest, like I said, pre-pandemic, they've kind of had a rough 2 years now. I will say
we've
this.
discussed not in length, but at points what you think is
wrong.
Now, injuries are injuries.
Yeah, injuries are, and hopefully he recovers.
Yes.
It was such a freak thing because he finished the match.
Right, but what's going on with the consistency of New Japan right now?
It's weird because for the first time I can ever remember, even going back through most of their library, so probably the early 2000s.
Yeah.
For the first time, they're not telling compelling stories. Even though they have, to me,
it's weird.
Outside of Roman Reigns,
they
still have at least 3 of the most top compelling wrestlers on the planet.
Jay
White, Okada.
Jay White recently testing positive for COVID, but that's not really going to keep him out.
He'll be gone for a couple weeks, so he'll still be champion, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
And he's still King Jay White.
Yeah.
25 years old. I'm like, if I'm Triple H,
he's 25 years old.
If I'm Triple H, I
and
go
he's
to
a
Vince,
king that we believe in.
I'm like, just throw him half of the salary you would throw Brock. This kid is incredible. We got to get him here. Hell, I'm like, listen, I'll pay New Japan just to get Bullet Club over here.
I'll be honest with
you.
I did not think that facial hair makes a man, but my God, if it didn't take him from the babyface lion to the king, oh my, it's.
And then of course he smarted up, so he started wearing like these suave suits and things like that. Like I said, he's outside of Roman, who is probably the best thing in pro wrestling right now.
He's delivering the same type of promo, as in he's pissing off all of the aces, but he's much more kingly about it.
Well, because
there's a regalness to being King Jay White.
He's beaten all of them now.
That's true.
So he's now got confidence. Like, I can talk crap about them because I've already beaten them.
He's kicked your ass,
folks. I don't care if you get New Japan Strong. I don't care if you get anything. Just go to YouTube and watch the highlights of this man.
He's incredible.
Yes.
But so what they plan on doing, from what I've been told, is they're going to do a little bit of, they're going to do it New Japan style, of course, but it's going to be a short tournament to crown a new champion.
Have they released the people are going to participate?
Not yet. Yeah. And like I said, this is technically kind of rumor of what they're going to do, but this is probably exactly what they're going to do.
I saw that same rumor. Yeah, they got to figure it out. They got to get the names. They got to figure out when they're going to do it. And 9
times out of 10. It'll probably be someone they've trusted before, so like Tetsuya Naito, or of course Okada, because it's almost like when WWE like nowadays, if WWE goes to like if instead of Bobby it was Seth Rollins on Raw who was champion. Yeah. It's just them going to someone they trust for now while they try to figure things out, because at least they can trust, like, the top champion still feels like a top champion even if he's not really doing anything. So I got a feeling they're just probably going to go back to kind of someone they know, because I believe the G1 is actually, it'll be this summer kind of, because they're going to actually try to get back on the road even more so now.
Well, I thought they'd already moved it because of the Olympics situation.
Well, they moved it because of the Olympics.
Well, that was last year, but I thought since the Olympics got rescheduled, they were just going to do it again.
They're going to move it up this year.
So
instead of October, they're going to try to move it up to, I think, the late July. Okay. So that way they could still have a similar-looking G1 tournament. I don't know if they're going to do I don't know if they're going to do. I would just say,
why not for the first time make the G1 be for the belt?
So that's the interesting question, because the rumor is they're going to do a tournament for the title.
Yeah.
But we're so close to the G1 technically.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that's how they're going to do it.
Because that's what Vince would do is that Vince would just say, okay, my champion's hurt. We stripped him. Let's just put it in the Rumble.
Yeah.
If they were only a couple weeks in the Rumble, they would just have a vacated champion.
Oh, and listen. Yeah. One of the things is what they're going to do is they're going to just go to a guy they trust. So even if it's a smaller tournament, it'll either be Okada, it'll be Naito.
They do Tanahashi probably.
Tanahashi he's the ace. He's the most trustworthy hands in the company outside of Okada.
Yeah.
Or if they did Gaijin again, it would probably be I forget his name off the top of my head, but yeah, otherwise it sucks what happened to Will Ospreay.
I'm guessing most likely when he's back, it's going to be,
and it's a next
6 months.
So I'm sure Will's.
But before we get off of this, one of the funniest things I saw, because I was watching this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so someone was wearing a mask. A couple people were wearing a mask, and they had the Chaos gear.
Yeah.
And I think they were there for like Okada and a couple of the other Chaos guys, including Yano, because he's actually incredibly popular.
Yeah.
For what reason not to be? He's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I see,
if there's ever been a wrestler that just committed to something more, I haven't found them over.
Anytime I hear Yano's music, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be good.
Oh, yeah.
And they had the mask, and the mask said, and it translates to, this title sucks, and they're talking about the heavyweight. So they're actually still getting backlash from their own fans over there about the championship.
Yeah,
there is and usually, unlike WWE, will take a while to be like, all right, we agree. This is terrible. We should change this.
I'll say this though: what if what if? Hear me out. What if? And I'm being serious. What if to phase the belt out, you give it to Yano? 2 birds, 1 stone. He sells it,
and then he brings back the old one,
and then he brings back a better title.
Character-wise, story-wise, it writes itself.
I think it's Yano.
Yeah, dude, I agree. It would actually write itself. And people would laugh and be like, well, at least he got the title back.
You wouldn't even have to write it. You would just say, Yano, we're doing this, and he'd figure it out. He's been doing it for so long, and it's so good.
It would write itself.
God.
It's funny because like I said, they're some of the best storytellers.
Yeah.
But when they get on a lull, it's very weird. Because,
so why not lean on, and I hate to say it, one of your greatest attractions in Yano, one of your most consistent attractions, lean on Yano for like a couple of weeks.
I agree. Yeah, like I said, I got to feel it'll be a smaller tournament. It'll be very good, of course. Can I also point something out,
Jesse? And this is more of a question, but it's rhetorical. Can it be any worse than David Arquette?
Absolutely not.
Can it be? It can't be any worse than David Arquette being the WCW World Champion.
In this case,
which, by the way, is something apparently that he said, which pissed Nick Gage off a little extra. But we'll talk about that on a different day.
Because Yano winning the championship would be like not. So I would compare it to the Miz the second time around.
Well, but here's the deal. But here's the deal. I don't think it'd be the second time.
Well, here's what I mean, though. The only difference would be like...
Can you imagine the pop, though?
Exactly. You would enjoy it because you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see how he loses the championship.
Every single person who has loved New Japan forever would sit there and be like... At first, you'd be like, really? But then you'd be like, why the hell not?
You're going to be like, even if they keep it on him for a couple of months, like getting out of matches somehow. Everyone's going to be like, come on, Yano.
What I would love, hear me out, what I would love would be to give it to Yano, but then in typical Yano fashion, he faces no top talent. He just faces a bunch of mid-card lions, and he pays half of them to get out of the ring. I mean, do you not think that would be just hilarious? Like seriously, do that for a month, and then just like have some...
I'm sure they would do stuff where like... You know, even if it was a top contender, like he decides to tie them to the rope outside, so they can't get back in.
Oh, it'd be so
like,
good.
You know, because of course the gate's out there. So they just tie him there and be like, I have nothing to do with it. Like, you know, the matches would be great. They'd be entertaining.
It'd be so much
you
fun.
Son of a gun! How are you getting out of losing the championship?
Okay, so this is not on our list, but since we're already there, they recently had a list come out where New Japan fans voted on the top 20 gaijins.
Yes.
I did see that.
Do you agree with the list? Because Kenny was, I believe, number 1.
Which I have no problem with, because in this case, it's probably the best we'll ever see from Kenny ever again.
In recent history,
even if he goes back, because Kenny recently said he's going to finish his career in Japan. I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to be an executive vice president in AEW, knowing that my other executive vice president has already said, yeah, I'm going to leave here at some point and go finish in Japan. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, he's the worst right now to me.
God.
But I will say this.
I'll look it up.
I do remember some of the people on there too.
Because I think Brock's in the top 15, which I understand why they're so low on him. Well, dude, you don't get to just take their championship and be like, I mean, I don't like, dude. You were gonna get paid when you came back. Like, you were supposed to work with them. Anyway,
I said he's in there. Hogan's in there. Andre's in there.
Hogan was actually really good in New Japan when you go look for those matches.
Top 20.
Bruiser Brody is in there.
Top
too.
20. Do you want me to go 20 to 1? Or
yeah.
20 to 1. Number 20, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Makes sense.
Bam Bam had a hell of a run.
He had a great run.
Oh, yeah. So good. Tama Tonga.
Yep.
Michael Elgin. And a few issues there later on, but Michael had a hell of a run.
Yeah, he did.
El Phantasmo, I don't think people realize the type of run he did have over there.
He's still there. He's been there for like 8 years now.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
He just looks so young.
Scott Norton has had a hell of a run there. Lance Archer, I mean, Lance came back and had one of the best G1s I've seen for somebody that was out for a while.
So one of the things they used to promote over there, and they did after he, kind of went to AEW, because he was still going to try to work with them when the pandemic happened. they were so high on him because he came over, he embraced everything, he embraced the teachings of Minoru about them.
Yeah.
And they were super high on him. He had a great year and a half when he was there.
So that was 15. Mm-hmm. Number 14, Dragon/Ryu Lee.
Okay, yeah.
Bruiser Brody at 13. People don't realize Bruiser Brody, before he was untimely murdered, huge everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Bruiser Brody's one of those legendary names.
He was huge over there.
Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, another guy who really kind of embraced the Japanese style for a while.
The only mistake he ever made, well, not really ever made, because he's made a lot. Anyway, was that he decided to crap on the WWF Championship.
Yeah.
Even though, which kind of strained the relationship at first between New Japan and WWE and Vince, because he was like, wait a minute, did you go tell Hogan to crap on my title? But they didn't tell him that, but they never actually told Vince otherwise.
Right.
So Vince was actually hurt for a long time.
Yeah. Number 11, Ricochet.
Yes.
Ricochet's short run over there was
amazing.
Well, first of all, it got Allison into wrestling, number one. Number 2, Ricochet was on all of the shows.
Yep.
He was Ricochet was doing
People think he just
tour.
wrestled the junior weights. He's like, no, he wrestled the heavyweights over there, too.
and that's when Ricochet was like really Ricochet. Number 10, Andre the Giant. Andre should be on every list anywhere because it's Andre the Giant.
Yes.
Interesting. It's this low, but maybe some recency biased. Prince Devitt.
I think it's just recency bias
because
he created their best faction ever.
Well, not only that, he ran the dojo.
Yeah.
At one point.
He was one of the heads of the LA dojo before he decided to go to WWE.
Yeah. And now we're getting into some not so recency bias, but I get why they're this high. Number 8, Big Van Vader.
Yes.
Vader was a huge star in Japan.
Still revered over there.
Just absolutely loved over there.
They don't even understand why he got the hate that sometimes he got over here because they loved him over there.
Dude, this one's just fun for me. Stan Hansen. Stan Hansen's run in New Japan was
the man.
Oh, he was so good over there. Jeff Cobb at 6.
I like that one because what he does for them is what they've missed with a guy like Stan.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. Actually, I'm not sure if he passed, but I thought he maybe has.
No, Stan's still kicking.
Oh, he's good.
Good.
Good. Oh, yeah. Then whatever I heard a year ago is wrong. But yeah, Jeff Cobb brings them that physical, bully-like presence, this is a gaijin that's like one of our own. He takes nothing from no one, bro. But he also has a lot of respect. So Jeff Cobb being that high is not a problem.
Knox City, Texas. Stan Hansen still lives there.
Okay, good.
With his wife, Yumi.
Wow. Good. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's a cool name.
Number 5. I actually think this is okay because he has been so good for them. Zack Sabre Jr.
No problem.
He's so much fun to watch in the junior division. Number 4, I actually agree with this. Top 5 needs to be AJ's run over there. AJ Styles, his run over there. He created the AJ Styles that we have now.
He was the one I was shocked that wasn't number 2 because what AJ actually did for them, more than Prince Devitt, Finn Balor did, was he was able to get more people from over here to actually watch New Japan.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
Because he was such a huge name over here already.
Number 3, I think this is more so on the potential of what could happen. It is King Switchblade Jay White.
Listen, the last 2.5 years, if there is anything that I've always said, if there's any wrestler who should be jealous of Jay White or even legend, it should be Triple H. This is what you should have been all those years. Just this megastar who does doing piss off perfectly.
And the genius to protect the belts during that earthquake.
Yes.
He lives King Switch. He just does.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, Will Ospreay. I think that's more the potential of what Will could be.
Well, to be honest, the last 4 years
he's been great over there. No doubt. And then number 1, like you said, I think Kenny Omega became one of the greatest gaijins because Kenny, like you talked about people, embracing. Kenny embraced Japanese life.
Yes.
So I get it, but like you said, despite the fact we now believe that Okada was about 80% of the matches, Kenny was still over there.
I think that's true.
I'm getting close to 87.
By the way, folks,
Kenny,
folks, this is the one list where I will say, by no extension, the Young Bucks should be on this list. No. By absolutely zero
I
extension.
swear, if anyone believes the Young Bucks should be on there.
Should we slap the shit out of him?
Yeah, why not?
I would consider it.
All right.
I consider going to jail at a wrestling show for that.
So
we don't have to go to jail. I know enough cops.
So Jesse, your outlook then for the next, I would say, let's say year of New Japan. What do you think?
I think they will. I think, especially starting with the G1 coming up.
Yeah.
They will find their way back.
Well,
again.
It's their time to shine. Is the G1. Everyone in wrestling knows them. The G1 is like WrestleMania week. Like the Super Bowl week,
absolutely.
You steal the headline.
Oh, absolutely.
For that run.
For at least a good month and a half, they steal headlines. Like I said, I believe because they were already kind of on a little bit of a downslope, and then COVID just hurt them immensely.
No, it was not fun.
I mean, they did the right thing to me because over there it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So they just said, no, we're just shutting down.
Though. It's an island now. You know, that's the other problem.
And so they were just like, screw it, we got to shut down.
Well, someone who was on the list, we'll knock this out quick. Your boy Ricochet had some things to say.
So, you know what?
I'm going to let you take that one for a bit.
So, I'm going to defend Ricochet.
Right.
So basically what he was saying was kind of in character, kind of out of character.
Yeah.
So it was a half and half comment.
Yeah.
And people think he's being punished backstage. I think Vince is just smartly like, I got to keep you off of Raw this week because, but it's one of those things where like, it wouldn't matter if he was kept off of Raw because he was beaten clean by Sheamus twice.
Right.
But I digress.
Yeah.
So he kind of basically said, I actually do a lot of things because someone was like, because he was saying like I'm the best. He's just saying I'm the best in the world at what I do.
Yeah.
And someone was like, I don't know, man. Io's pretty damn great.
I'm not taking anything away from Io, but again, this is what we like to do on our show. We're gonna add some context.
Yes.
Regardless of how you feel, contextually, he's still great.
Here's your thing. He is better than Io. Just because you haven't seen it in WWE because he's not been giving that chance.
Yes.
In that first babyface run where I've never seen a guy who's charismatic so watered down in my life.
Right.
And now people kind of see the foot. Like I said, watch Main Event. These people, he's allowing the wrestlers to do like he did in the past to actually try to get themselves over on Main Event and stuff. Main Event's actually become a really good show now. It's one of those things, guys. He's not wrong. I've known Ricochet. I've watched Ricochet damn near his whole career. He's excellent.
Oh.
I've seen him be an excellent heel, an excellent babyface. He's great on the mic when you're not watering him down with these writers, which WWE is very guilty of. I listen, people, I'm on your side with that. But, like, in the same breath, he didn't insult Io when he said that.
No, he didn't.
She, like I said, when I think of top wrestlers in the world right now, men and women, she's easily in my top 5.
Well, okay,
she's incredible.
Once again, let's add context.
Only thing wrong is that she's engaged to Evil. That's it.
Right.
Otherwise, she's not engaged to me. Otherwise, to me,
I know.
It's like seriously, and the fact that everyone got so upset, I'm like, it wasn't a sexist comment.
But can we just
really fact-wise is right.
But okay, once again, let's put into context here. When you put LeBron James and Michael Jordan together on a list of athletes.
Okay.
I would say athletically gifted, it's LeBron over Michael. We're not here to argue their career. We're here to argue the athleticism.
If it's athleticism, he's way better than Michael.
And maybe you could argue, Michael, smoked the cigars, ate the steaks, didn't really take care of himself as well as they do nowadays, whatever. But Michael wasn't gifted 6'8", 240 with a 4.5 40. I don't know if that was actual 40 time, but he could damn sure run a court faster than Michael ever could.
And he's still kind of in his prime, but like before the age of 32, I mean, you would look at LeBron as one of the best athletes in the world.
But we're not diminishing Michael's athleticism because he was still athletic.
Yeah.
But, folks, Io's not getting insulted by Ricochet saying I can do all of that and more because he can.
He's already proven he can.
There's footage of this. There's actual footage of this happening. Yeah, There's the light bulb. Fix that, will you?
I have to rewire something. I'm
about to say probably a rewire issue. But listen, I was because I was actually defending him on Twitter.
Right.
I'm like, listen, guys, he's not wrong. I'm like, right now he's taking unnecessary heat because of recency bias and because of how we see Io, because she's actually given something to do in NXT while he's been so watered down since he's been called up to the main roster. Yeah. The only reason he hasn't been released is because they know they can do something with him. They just haven't figured it out what.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's one of those things, guys, he's not wrong. No. Even in one of the things me and you are a part of, it's called the Pro Wrestling Lounge. A lot of people were like, "Oh, get out of here, Ricochet!" But
Leroy's there.
I'm there.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah, forget. I'm there too.
I don't see as much in the commentary so much. So
I'm more posting from our
gotcha
our page.
But yeah, it's one of those things. Even those guys and gals got upset, but I'm like, no, don't let recency bias fool you.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
So it's like I said, he took a little heat.
Yeah.
I think it'll blow. It's starting to blow over now.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he's fine.
He'll be back.
From adding context to that, now we have to go to the meat of the show.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got about 5 or 6 different things we could go here, but we're going to go to our favorite
go to the
friends.
Stinky meat?
We're going to go to our favorite friends over in Spot Monkey Wrestling, All Petite Wrestling.
Why haven't we done that yet?
All Friends Wrestling.
Do you need another cookie?
I'm good for now.
Okay. We made some cookies again.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
In honor of Zach coming back, I made some cookies.
You are a master chef, sir.
Master Baker, I'll give him
baker.
That.
Master Baker.
Right.
Well, I am single.
Yeah. And that comment or reasons why. Anyway.
Which one are we going to go to first?
So from Leroy's Saturday afternoons to every Wednesday night the Bucks are on television. Ladies and gentlemen.
Very much difference. No, I'm better. I can do better quality work than they do.
Thank you.
I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to a few topics from our friends at Spot Monkey Wrestling.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know where to start. There's so much coming out of there. Well, I think we'll start with the simple.
How about this one?
No, hold on. I think we're going to start with something that Jesse alluded to a while back. Jesse, there seems to be too many cooks in the kitchen now in the executive vice president room, and they seem to not be collaborating as well as they probably should be on the ingredients.
Even though they try to jokey, fire. Oh, it's all fine. But, of course, they have to do it in their joke way with a shot at WWE, of course.
The reports are out, ladies and gentlemen, that the executive vice presidents are not really on speaking terms all hours of the day. Folks, QT Marshall recently spilled the beans on how they book this crap, and no one at this show was surprised. It's all over group text.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan is the final say. No one's surprised. No one's confused. You don't even own it. And by the way, just a quick note so that our wonderful fans over in Europe can understand. You no longer own an English Premier League team because you got regulated to a lower division, you dumbass. You're fighting with the coach. Like, folks, can I just point something out? You own probably the worst wrestling company in the United States. You own, as of last year, the worst football team in the United States.
True.
And you own a team that was the worst English Premier League team.
Shockingly enough, Trevor has smart enoughly not showed up yet on Dynamite.
Trevor's not that stupid. Trevor's watching this shit.
He's like, dude, I got a football team to save. I can't save them.
They haven't paid him enough yet.
No, exactly.
Yet.
That'll be the second contract. Anyway, but folks, for those of you who are not of our English viewers, let me explain how this works. And I even hate soccer.
You know what I hate about the Trevor Lawrence thing, though, to be honest? He might actually help to save AEW because doesn't he look like a young John Elway?
He does.
He really does.
Yeah.
He's pretty. He's got a good arm. But
my point is this, folks. For those people who don't follow soccer, and while I hate soccer and don't enjoy it as an actual sport,
You send all your hate mail.
I'm okay with that.
To Zach.
I have no issue with that.
It's an actual sport. Hush.
It's a running contest, and
I do
with
like
bad actors,
I
but
do
okay.
Like El Football Americano a lot
So
better.
apparently, only me and you, Leroy, can now go to Britain.
I like.
Just know that.
I like.
You
Well,
can't
that's
go
my
anymore.
home. I'm from Britain and Germany.
Yeah.
I get so
I like.
So we're good.
I
We're
like
good.
female
Good there.
soccer because they get a broken nose and they finish the shift, but
and
that's
then
not
they
here nor
rip
there.
their shirts off. And
The men,
Ugh.
you know, the
They're
men
babies.
get slightly bumped by a bee, and all of a sudden they're on the ground for 20 minutes. But anyway, so
called acting.
yeah, exactly, terrible acting. Let me explain this. So the way that the English Premier League works,
Yes.
which most leagues do outside the United States, is in the United States, when you're the worst team, you get rewarded to try to fix the franchise,
Yes.
a la the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They got the first overall pick.
The
They
drafts, things of that nature.
They get the support, the supposed quarterback messiah they've always wanted.
Yeah.
In soccer, you get this thing called regulated, where you're no longer in an English Premier League. You're a step below, and the best team from that division is now in the English Premier League.
Yeah.
So you own the worst English Premier League soccer team that is no longer the English Premier League soccer team. So, and by the way, Tony's the GM over there.
Yeah, he is.
He's butting heads with their coach. He's making a bunch of decisions that nobody seems to get, and the fans are in an uproar. Sound familiar? Folks, if you're a billionaire, and Michael Jordan found this out the hard way because he finally decided to wake up and realize, I needed real basketball people, not yes men. The Bobcats are kind of getting there.
They're the Hornets again, to be fair.
Okay, yeah. Well, he originally bought the Charlotte
as
Bobcats,
the
and then
Bobcats,
it's back to
yeah,
the Hornets.
yeah,
But Michael Jordan, for years, had the Bobcats, and because he was in charge, and because he had yes men, they were drafting guys like Adam Morrison, which Adam Morrison was okay, or was good in college, but he was not going to be that guy in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, like, most experts were like, what are you doing
Michael
here?
Jordan was also a dickhead who really beat up on young talent, like really badly.
Right.
Thinking he was inspiring them like they're 25-year-old men who understand they have families and
right.
stuff.
But the thing about it is, folks, it is just Michael Jordan finally hired real basketball people.
Yeah.
And the Charlotte Hornets are starting to become a contender in the Eastern
Yes.
Conference. Now, Michael Jordan, as my brother explained to me last night, it was actually good talking to him. He now owns a NASCAR team.
Yes, he does.
But, to quote my brother, who I would trust because he's a huge racing fan, we all know why Bubba Wallace is the driver.
Yeah.
We all know.
Yeah.
Not saying that's a problem.
Yeah.
But Bubba's probably not the guy right now. Bubba's like an 8-year vet, but like Bubba's not.
He's a younger guy. He's only 23 or 24. Been driving since I think he was a teenager.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that Bubba is a guy who has spurts of greatness.
Sure.
And
I think he won a race a couple weeks ago, I believe.
No. According to what Ian said, Ian's my little brother. He said his average finish right now is about 25.
But I was pretty sure he won a cup, not a big cup, not the major Cup Series race, but a mid-level Cup Series race a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, yeah.
I'll have to double check that, but it was his first win.
Right,
I know it was promoted a lot.
But as my brother has said,
Yeah.
Michael is at least willing to be aggressive.
Yeah.
But Michael right now doesn't have the best personnel for NASCAR.
No.
So, once again, Michael, you played, so I trust you in basketball. But in NASCAR, you should have learned from the basketball thing, go get the best guys who know NASCAR.
Yeah.
The cons, because we all watched the draft room. You and I, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, look, it's Tony. Not on Adderall. At least we don't think.
Let's hope not.
But anyway, he's sitting there, and I've heard rumors that he likes to draw up plays. He likes to draw up soccer plays. He likes to draw up this, that. We all know that he fantasy booked wrestling when he was a kid. Folks, he doesn't know how to do these things, but he's saying, I'm going to put together the best soccer team. You know nothing about soccer. We all know he's got something to do with the Jaguars because Yannick Ngakoue, who played for the Vikings briefly last season, he had problems with Tony Khan. So there's a pattern forming.
I mean, he said something recently, too, about their squad as well. But really, the dad mostly runs that team, so it doesn't matter what Tony says.
No. And I agree, but like, there's a pattern forming that Tony eventually does things that he's not qualified to do. Yeah. And the supposed Booker of the Year is booking this thing last minute over a cell phone group chat that apparently now we know QT Marshall is involved in. And I'm just looking at myself like, guys, why would you tell that out loud? Why would you make that public? Because the fact of the matter is that we already knew that the executive vice presidents weren't getting along. That had been released long ago.
Oh, well, I've always said, it's true in WWE, you can tell who's doing what just by the show you're watching.
Yes.
I can tell Paul Heyman is doing what he can to please Vince, but also doing what he can to make the best show possible to bring wrestling fans back.
Yes.
You can tell it by just watching the show. In AEW, you can tell which segments are good.
Yeah.
When it's something that Cody and him are kind of putting together with other people, it's actually decent. When it's the Young Bucks doing their own thing, it's terrible.
When it's the women's division and Kenny,
it's horrible.
Oh, that's horseshit.
When it's Kenny himself, kill me.
But can I also point something out? Is that
that's where I'm at with him.
Jim Cornette briefly touched on this.
Yeah.
And he brought up something that I don't think people are actually getting. Ladies and gentlemen, Cody is a Rhodes. Yeah. He comes from one of the greatest wrestling families ever.
Yes.
Oh. He gets wrestling psychology, because how could you not being raised by the American dream?
Well, it's not even just like people bring up his father, but it's not just his father.
His brother
is one of the best storytellers of all time in wrestling.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
But no, okay, I'll get to my point here.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at, and then we'll delve into it. This was not a situation where soulmates were brought together. This was a group that was formed out of necessity. Y'all were basically shunned by WWE. You were either released by them, or all of your fame came from hating on them. I paid the $30. The Bucks just
we know. Yes, we know.
Folks, Cody had just gotten cut, so he says, "I'm going to make my own spin to be his dad."
Yeah.
Which there's one thing I want to touch on a little bit later about that I have an issue with, but we'll get to that later. But then,
I'm pretty sure I crapped all on that last week, didn't I?
Yes, you did crap on that a lot.
But then, what, the war with the British that's all of a sudden happening?
Yeah.
Anyway, but now you hook up with the Elite, which were Kenny and the Bucks, who were always on the we don't need WWE train.
Actually, I need to correct something.
Okay.
So the Bucks have gone on for years with that lie that they created the Elite. It was Kevin Steen who created the Elite.
True.
And they have lived off of his creation now for over a decade.
Right.
Haven't they done that a lot?
Yeah, well.
Well, I want to get that out there to people, because I've been realizing, I keep hearing that, and I'm like, wait a minute.
It was Kevin Steen.
I was 19 back in the PWG days when I traveled a lot to go see wrestling.
Right, yeah.
That was Kevin Steen's idea.
Right, yeah, exactly. So,
and he was smart enough to go, I hate the direction this is going. I'm leaving this.
But that's my point, is that, guys, these guys did not grow up in the same locker room for 20 years. Cody was never PWG.
No.
Cody was always WWE. Yeah. So now you have a guy who's worked in a professional setting his entire career.
WCW and WWE.
Fair enough.
To be correct.
Enough, yeah. So,
yes.
But you have a guy who grew up in, regardless of how you feel about the product, it's still a much more professional environment, which is why Brock Lesnar will never work with anyone other than Vince. But PWG...
Well, that's just because he burned his own bridge in New Japan, but continue.
PWG was its own little niche. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Not hating it. Love myself some old school PWG. Yeah. But guys and gals and fans of the Elite, the current rendition...
Yeah.
These guys did not grow up in a locker room.
No.
I'm going to list a couple of things here. Kevin Steen created the Elite.
Yes, he did.
The Bucks decided to keep trading on it, even though Kevin Steen was like, I'm done.
They went off to much greener pastures.
I'm out. I'm out.
You guys have fun with that. See ya.
Kenny Omega was a star in Japan. The Young Bucks latched on to Kenny, and it wasn't reported, it's been confirmed, that New Japan didn't give a shit about the Bucks.
No, they didn't.
The Bucks were like a weird, and I'm not even trying to be funny, parasitic thing that that New Japan just accepted came along with Kenny. Yep. Kenny was the star in New Japan, but he was friends with the Bucks, so he got this cachet to get them runs.
Yeah.
But they were never Bullet Club. They were always Elite.
Yeah.
So you weren't even cared about in the company where your real meal ticket at the time Kenny was big in. And now you all of a sudden hook up with Cody Rhodes, which doesn't make any sense because the only reason you guys are together is because you were trading on the anti-WWE ship for 4 years. Cody had just come off WWE television, so that was a latch on for you.
Yeah.
Guys, this was never going to be the long-term honeymoon that you thought it was going to be. And this is what I said to Jesse was, I'm excited, but then I'm like, okay, I thought Jericho was going to be more head of this when he showed up. I thought Cody was going to have more, and the Bucks were just going to sit back and be happy making money.
Yeah.
But they all of a sudden got all their friends jobs. And that's not a joke. Half that roster's from Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Oh, it's just fucked up.
Jim also pointed out that when they do finally blow up at each other, because Cody can't even work with them right now because he has to work with all of his friends because nobody wants to work with him.
Well, it's Cody.
They're all going to become a clique. The locker room's going to become a bunch of cliques.
It's not that Cody's just working with his friends. Cody, apparently, outside of Tony Khan, is the other. Cody seems to be the only one who actually cares about the business side of all this.
Right.
Well, somebody's going to have to.
But Jesse, but see, here's the problem. The Bucks are going to ride this until Khan doesn't want to pay them anymore, and then they're not going to care. You don't think? Okay.
Where are they gonna go?
Hold on. Quick question. Do you not think?
At that point, they might have to kiss a certain ass up there in Connecticut.
All I'm saying is this. Do you not think, knowing the attitude that we all know the Young Bucks have, which is more closer to their heel than their face personas?
Yeah.
Because boys, you're wrestling in $10,000 sneakers. What the fuck are you doing? But anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
Those Dior Jordans are $10,000.
They're actually $10,000.
And they wrestled in them. And by the way, Jim Cornette pointed something out that I think deserves to be looked at. You think they made Tony pay for those?
No.
You think they paid for them themselves?
I'll be fair. No, they have the money to pay for it.
Oh, I know they have the money, but this is my point. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
you don't think they are sitting back in the locker room, booking this thing, watching it happen, and then looking at each other and going, "Dude, he's actually paying us for this." PWG never had this kind of money, but they're basically doing a bad version of PWG on national television.
I forget who runs PWG, but those two owners would have never allowed them to go completely jackass because there was a point for that show.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even PWG ain't this stupid.
Like I love working. It's not Rick. Is it Rick for MAW? But
David,
thank you.
Yeah.
But the chances we got, that you let me work with you guys in MAW and meeting him.
Show's coming back, by the way.
We'll talk about that.
Talk about that towards the end.
Oh yeah.
He runs a business. He understands for his fan base to keep coming back.
Yeah.
He has to do certain things.
Yes.
PWG wasn't going to let them just run wild.
No,
because the California scene was huge.
Well, but that's also why they left PWG was because PWG said no to 90% of this shit.
Ring of Honor eventually was like, there's certain things you're just not going to do.
Ring of Honor didn't want to become PWG.
Yeah.
Even though Ring of Honor didn't want to become what Jim Cornette was trying to turn them into, they still didn't want to be PWG. And if PWG says no, where the hell are you going to go? Oh, you're going to find the next billionaire who gets mad at Vince for something that never even worked out in the first place, mostly because of a pandemic, but I digress.
Yeah.
But it's like, folks, there are too many cooks in the kitchen. There's 4 guys. 3 of them are a clique. The other one's another clique. Eventually, they're all going to go in their own separate ways, 2 in one direction. Kenny's going to get pissed and go in his own direction because even Kenny's sitting there probably realizing, do I really need the Bucks anymore? Because now I've got the Good Brothers back on the States. But anyway, folks.
Until the Good Brothers go back to Japan.
Folks, here's the well, Kenny will follow.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's the deal. This is going to happen, and I think it's going to be in the next year and a half because that's the timeline of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
In a year and a half, that locker room is going to be so divided. It's going to be the people from the Nightmare side, and then the people who are like, well, I like Cody, but the only reason I'm here is because I've been friends with the Bucks for 10 years, and they're going to go their way, and then being the Elite's going to be just a shit show of people who shouldn't be on it, because even that's become just bad Republican humor. But
dude, only reason I disagree because I think most wrestlers, there is a little bit of selfishness, and there has to be, because it's not just.
I agree.
Because you have to care about where you see yourself going in your career.
But my point is this. Is that at some point, we've seen it happen everywhere else. A clique is going to form.
Yeah.
In which it's going to be the guys who are there because they knew the Bucks.
Yeah.
Guys who are there because they were big names and Tony wanted them.
Yeah.
And then guys who are part of the Nightmare side.
Yeah.
So you're going to have 3 different faction situations in AEW, which won't even be on television because they can't. Because now I think they're backed into a corner where they have to put on a smiling face, even though, guys, we've been right this whole time. And in a second here, when we finish up with this topic, we'll explain another reason why, guess what? I'm going to get a little cocky because holy shit, I didn't think I'd be right this quickly. All right, before we get to that, folks, when you look at the Bucks, they're trying to do their shit, which was said no to by PWG, which Ring of Honor said no to. Hell, TNA said no, and Impact says yes to just about anything.
Right. Back then, for sure.
And so, folks, look, WWE's saying no, that happens every day. I'm not bringing that up.
That's a smart thing.
What was the old? We were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago, though.
Yeah.
In WWE, it's all about as many no's as you get, keep going.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you're going to get a yes.
But my point
is this. Yeah. On one half, you've got the Bucks trying to do their thing, Kenny trying to prove he's more, and Jim Cornette's right. And no matter what Kenny was in Japan, they all think they're more over than they are. I'm sorry. That's they true. Do. Mark came on the show and said it a long time ago, whoever said Cody Rhodes was a superstar? He was kind of right.
My ego is kind of big, but theirs is like 50 times bigger than mine.
But here's the deal. And then you've got Cody, who's stuck between trying to make it serious and then trying to do every single angle his father did, but in a vacuum as opposed to proper.
Yeah.
We already saw Zbyszko versus Bruno Sammartino. That took 2 weeks. And they're still going.
Yeah.
And now we've got Anthony Go-Go, but wake me up before you do.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. That's pretty good.
Wham!
Rest in peace, George Michael.
Wham!
I'm sorry, George. But now you've got the British are now mad at us, and there's segregation, and I'm going to steal this from Brian Last. Cody's having the first interracial baby in the history of Atlanta. that promo was everywhere, but nowhere at the same time.
What? Did you
guys talk
bullshit.
about that yet? Did you talk about that
we
yet?
talked about that
okay,
last
promo,
week.
yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, I murdered that promo.
Here's the deal,
week.
though. I'd like to get some of my kicks in this
Go
because,
for it.
folks, why was Shad Khan brought up? Where did the Pakistani kid happen? What was that? We've never been mad at Pakistan. We've been mad at the Taliban. Pakistan's a bunch of crazy, good-for-nothing, paranoid people, but we've never had a major issue with them.
That promo, that was the first time I'm like,
who were the Italians he was referring to?
I'm like, what the hell is Cody talking about?
And then Brandy, love being the supportive wife, but saying it's up there with one of the greatest promos of all time.
This is when I love the wrestling community.
It was up there with 316 apparently.
I love how quickly that properly started to turn into a meme. Because that's what it deserves to be.
Brandy's more famous as a meme outside the wrestling community than she is as a quote trailblazing black woman in business. She's trailblazing, I'll give her that, but like folks, you're a meme now because you sat there and you talked about a promo that made no goddamn sense.
Dude,
quick question, Jesse, because here's the deal. Yeah. They couldn't figure it out on the drive-through, but I need to ask you because you're my resident guy here.
Has
Anthony Ogogo ever shit on the United States, even on Darker Elevation?
He did once, but it wasn't even like this country sucks. He brought up the issues within the country and what the British see the issues are in the country. But he never said F America.
Well, but can I also point something out? Because I just had this conversation last night with my cousins who don't know true history. Folks, I want to make this clear. Little history lesson from your Uncle Zach over here. The British have gotten away with murder. I'm not joking.
Literally.
They have fucked everybody. There was an old saying once that my grandfather made a joke about, but that's because he's a Scot.
They were done pretty dirty by the Brits.
The sun once never set on the British Empire. Number one, because God wouldn't trust an Englishman in the dark, and number two, because at one point they owned land in the Orient and in the West. So literally, where the sun rises, it's set on the British Empire.
Yeah.
And now they're a tiny little island because they got kicked out of everywhere. But for some strange reason, because we're the United States, and we have to tell the world, because, here's the deal. We put the Star Spangled Banner before every major sporting event. They don't do that in other countries. No. They don't. We have a bit of an ego and a bit of rose-colored glasses.
Here, I'll give it to you this way. A comedian once, I can't remember which comedian, but he said, it might have been Trevor, who does the Daily Show now.
Yeah.
Where he said, America's like that obnoxious coworker you have, where every day he comes in, he's just like, how great am I? And when you don't agree with him, he goes, we're going to kick your ass.
but hold on. Britain, as I told my cousins, they've kind of sat back and been quiet, and everyone's forgotten that, Jesse, do you know the last year that Britain owned land in Africa? The year where they finally left Africa to its own devices. 1968.
Yeah.
Was the last time the British had
they still had control though in South Africa until like 1992.
Right, exactly. But what I'm saying is that they owned, like, I think it was up near like Nigeria or Zimbabwe. They owned a section of that country until about 68. So what people don't understand is that the British have just been quiet, but they've got so much shit that they're guilty of. They have fucked everybody, literally and figuratively. But my point is this, is that, Jesse, one program is supposed to spark that one day Atlanta was one of the most segregated places in America, and you're supposed to sit here and believe as a young black man that Cody Rhodes doesn't want the first interracial baby in Atlanta ever to think that her dad believed in the inequality.
They're full of shit there, because
there's plenty of.
There's been other besides them.
No. That's a joke from Brian Last because Cody came off so weirdly that it was like, dude, I get it. You're about to have an interracial baby. I get that. I'm all happy for you and your daughter. But for fucking crying out loud, it's not the first half black, half white baby in Atlanta. And for your wife to sit there, and it was probably the pregnancy hormones doing the typing on Twitter than her. But
probably.
Folks, this is not up there with Ric Flair saying, I got $10,000 alligator shoes. This ain't up there with I got a $10,000 Rolex that costs more than your house. This ain't up there. Woo! This ain't up there with Space Mountain's the oldest ride in the park. This is not Austin 360. This ain't Punk.
It's the only ride in the book. All right, there you go.
This ain't even Brandy with the heifer line.
That was actually pretty great. That was pretty damn great.
This isn't even New Jack with making white people angry in Smoky Mountain. Folks, this was the most out there promo I've heard Ultimate Warrior make more sense than Cody Rhodes did.
So Cody has
Hold on, Jesse. Like Leroy, am I kind of right with the Ultimate Warrior thing here?
Ultimate Warrior was a terrible promo. I'm sorry, people.
But it still made sense a little more than what Cody said.
I will say
more sense than
back to my question. Who are the Italian immigrants that he was? Hold on. Let me get my Spaceballs line out here. Who are the Italians?
They're from Italy.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
You're welcome.
What I don't understand.
I know who Anthony Ogogo is because he woke me up before he went. I know who Shad Khan is. Leroy's never not going to laugh at that. Leroy was a big Wham fan in the 80s.
That's actually.
I love Wham. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up
I know who Shad Khan is. I know who Tony is. I know who his daddy was. Who the hell were the Italian immigrants that got brought up?
I got to be honest.
Do they have Italian wrestlers?
I don't know.
Cody tends to ramble.
Was he mad?
And then, of course...
Was he mad about Santino Marella? Is he from Italy?
Santino's not in this abortion of a project.
I know, but I'm just guessing.
Even Santino, who's a legendary comedy wrestler, knows this is bullshit. It's the one thing Jim Cornette still likes about Santino. He hasn't gone to work for the Freaks yet.
I'm just still trying to figure out. No, I don't think Santino. No, he's trying to get his daughter in. Yeah. So he's going to stay.
Who, what, where, when, why was this promo ever given a green light?
I said, do they have any?
Because
Italians
he's
on
Cody, but to be fair to him, this is one of the first promos he's done that was that terrible.
Yeah.
Outside of him being Goldust's
but you know what this is, right? But you know what this is,
he
right?
He thought he could be his dad.
It was Leroy. I'm going to go to your wheelhouse. This is Dusty versus the Russians.
Oh yeah.
It was almost word for word the same speech, but take out the British and place the Russians in.
And then throw the Italians in.
Nikolai? Who was it? Nikolai and...
Well, no, Nikolai... No. It was Boris.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was before.
But Cody has
Nikolai
become a parody of his dad at this point. He's trying to do old angles, but the problem is that whether it's Tony rushing things the way Russo used to do in TNA, or it's just this is how Cody wants. It's Cody trying to get his dad's career in before Cody's done, and then he runs for Senate. But we'll talk about that when it happens. But it's just...
I just rolled my eyes, you guys. I don't know if you can hear how loud I
Bruno Sammartino versus Larry Zbyszko. That was a classic rivalry.
Well, yeah.
But it didn't happen in 2 weeks. It wasn't a 2-week skit.
Maybe that's the Italian he's talking about.
I swear to God, if you're right, I don't know. I swear to God, if you're right, I don't know what the hell.
You know what I gotta say about that is
brilliant.
I don't know. Delusions of grandeur. I don't know.
This was delusions of I don't know.
Literally, did he know?
And then of course again. Look, folks. Jesse will tell you. I make jokes sometimes, but I'm not racist. But here's the deal. Why does your interracial child have to be brought up in this?
You know what's wrong?
She's not even born.
You know what's wrong? Cody is having sympathetic pregnancy brain issues.
He's gotta.
What
the hell is this crap?
Wait. What is that? I've never heard of that.
Leroy's had multiple children. He knows.
I've had multiple children, and you kind of sympathize, and you kind of roll with everything that she's doing. I did not have problem with my brain. I had problem beforehand, but I didn't go into that brain dead pregnancy thing.
Yeah.
I apologize to all the women that were pregnant, but it has happened.
Jesse, you've grown up. You've learned from more firsthand accounts what the 50s, 60s era of the South was like.
Yeah.
But, Jesse, what in the world was he referring to?
Dude.
Atlanta, yes, is still not the best place to be black,
last week
despite the large amount of African-American population.
We were talking about
why is Cody Rhodes acting like he's having the first interracial baby in the history of Atlanta?
Leroy were talking
it's almost worse to be up here.
And...
Yeah.
I brought notes last week, so
he did.
I could actually be the best host I could possibly do.
I could hear them. Yeah. Mostly being ripped up when he was talking about AEW.
And now, Leroy, you know what I think I've missed on this overall when we were talking about this last week?
Yes.
He hit 3 main beats. They have shit to do with Anthony Ogogo, but he hit 3 main beats. The first beat was...
Anthony Ogogo... One more time, Leroy. Anthony Ogogo was the only part of the promo that woke me up because the rest of it put me to sleep. So luckily, Cody woke me up before he went.
He woke you up before he go-go.
Yeah, exactly.
So... He hit on the fact that Anthony...
I'd also like to point out that it's also a Jim Cornette thing. I'm not, before somebody calls me out, I stole that from Jim.
Why not?
Anthony, like I said before, the only big thing I saw Anthony do as far as British-wise...
Ogogo, Camarato...
was that he put the British flag on Cody after the beatdown. That's
his only interaction with Cody.
Exactly.
And now it's this great Dusty versus the Russians moment. It's the American Dream Cody Rhodes versus not the Russian Anthony Ogogo, not the Pakistani not the Muslim terrorist. Sorry, I should say fanatical Islamic terrorist, not the Muslim. I apologize.
No problem.
I'll pull that back. But
you're angry at Cody. I get it.
But folks, But folks, it's Cody Rhodes.
Not angry is kind of what the.
It's Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Wake Me Up Before You a Go-Go. And it's over.
You know what? It does make sense to call him Anthony Wake Me Up Before You a Go-Go because if you look at Nick Camarado, doesn't he look like the other guy that no one cared about?
That's what I'm saying. He looks like the other dude from Wham.
I don't remember that other guy. He's still alive.
He's still alive.
Yeah. By the way, a lot of love to George Michael. He actually gave that gentleman writing credits on.
Well, he should have
on Waking Up Before You Go, so he still gets paid from that.
Wearing them terrible ass jorts in that video. Anyway, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you guys in the 80s. That's a whole nother topic of life.
Well, Leroy can tell you about the 1880s, the 1780s, the 1980s.
Well, that's cocaine and pot were around then, so probably a good reason.
Cocaine mostly.
What'd you do in the 1780s? Leaves?
That was tobacco.
All right, fair enough.
So apparently we're back in war with Britain. Apparently,
we haven't been with war since 1815. But all right.
And because Anthony punched him in the gut.
No, 1812.
No, it was the War of 1812, but it officially ended in 1815.
Wow.
He punched because
it was a gut shot. It wasn't even a head shot.
Because he punched him in the gut. Now, because of course Anthony Gogo was black.
Yep.
It somehow offended his black wife and his future half-black child. Don't understand that at all. And as a black dude, I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then number 3.
Can I at least say this? Before you go on, before you get to point 3, to sort of piggyback off your second topic there. When Vince McMahon sort of allowed more black talent to be featured, for better or for worse, he did. It at least made sense because of everything that was going on. This takes everything that was happening and kind of throws it into a pig pen, and you're looking at it like,
let's get to number 3.
Okay, yeah.
Because of these 2 offenses,
yes.
He feels so offended because somehow this offended his great resting in heaven father. Now he has to defend his daddy and the United States of America. What the fuck were you talking about, Cody? What?
Cody?
What?
Cody Rhodes in the fastest amount of time that I've ever seen. Because remember,
he buried himself.
Because here's the deal.
Yes,
Shawn Michaels.
Vince couldn't bury him as quickly as he buried himself. Here's the deal.
Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. We always talk about this. Eventually, towards the end of their careers, they became highlight reels of their greatest moves.
Sure.
Not necessarily their moments, but the Bucks are moments. The Shawn Michaels was moves.
Hell, I think
but
Shawn Michaels is still telling even better stories in his second run than his first.
But folks, here's the deal. Cody Rhodes has so quickly tried to remake his father's legacy in his own image, and it doesn't make any sense.
See, Dusty is like, this is Dusty. Son, what the hell are you trying to do?
Well, not to mention the fact,
and
Jesse,
you slap him.
Jesse,
what the hell are you talking about, son?
I'm going to refer to Leroy here for a second, because Leroy, you watched a lot of Dusty, obviously.
Dusty.
Here's the thing, though.
Love you, Dusty.
Dusty was the most sympathetic babyface of all time because Dusty was if you look up babyface in the wrestling dictionary, it should have a picture of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
Because the face that Dusty Rhodes had, the sort of portly body, the way Dusty was, that was a babyface.
Yeah.
But Cody's so clean cut that Cody doesn't work the way his dad did. You can see traces of it, but you can tell that
he's actually more of his mother's child.
Yes, Dustin got the athleticism.
Yeah.
Cody got a little more of the cadences, but nobody will ever be the American Dream Dusty Rhodes.
And I mean,
I swear to God, Jesse, if you and I have to come on this show and talk about Cody coming up with a can of beans line, I'm out. I swear to God, if he tries to remake the can of beans line, I'm out. I will never talk about I will never talk about Cody Rhodes on this show again if I hear can of beans come out of his mouth.
If he starts can of bean and crawling up from a ditch.
I swear to God.
If he ever throws up the can of beans, like somebody throw one at him at a show. Like I open it up and just throw it.
They're
right
going on the road soon. They're gonna have a chance.
Okay. Is it going to be an empty can or is it going to be a full can?
Oh, it's going to be a full can of beans.
Full can of beans.
Well, it's going to be one of the Baker's Best.
No, you get the small one. You open it up and you toss it like a football. You see, you want to grip that bitch from the side. You throw it right at its fucking head. You'd be like, "You're not your dad, you fucking weirdo. What are you doing? What are you doing?"
And then when you do that, you go like this: touchdown,
Cody.
You know, as a matter of fact, Cody, Trevor, how much can I pay you to do this for me?
Right. Oh, damn, that might kill him.
Actually, yeah, because he throws a pretty good spiral.
Yeah. Cody, just do me a favor. If you want to redo your dad's highlights,
I'm usually on Cody's side.
Same. But it's like if you want the career your dad had, that's fine. But at least make it your own. Stop literally recycling your dad's career.
He never did this after he got cut, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
But he never did this.
No.
The American Nightmare was supposed to be a kind of play on his dad, but the fact that he was the son.
Yeah.
That, you know, he was more of an asshole because by the time he was grown, his dad was very well off.
And Jesse, again, we want to be clear. I'm not trying to be racist, but what was the point of bringing up black relations?
Nothing!
Especially considering Anthony Ogogo is half...
He's half black himself!
I'm offended now. My name is Leroy. I'm offended.
We can't call him African American because he's obviously from
British,
Britain.
yeah.
But, folks, Anthony Ogogo is a...
Technically, he comes from a kind of decently well-off black family in Britain, but good for him either way.
Yeah, but it's like, folks, I don't understand how we got from... We're apparently against the British again because of a flag, of a promo that happened on Dark that wasn't even really a fuck you America. It was just, okay, I'm British and I'm going to talk a little shit about America because that's what every British superstar does because that's just what they do. But
I mean, it's an easy topic to be fair to them.
No, it's totally fair. But it went from that to Atlanta was segregated to I'm about to have the first interracial baby. And again, I don't want to put those words in Cody's mouth, but you know it came off like that.
It was weird.
And then it went to some Italian immigrants that Jesse now looking back is like, oh yeah, that was in there. And I still don't know why. And then we went to a 16-year-old Pakistani kid who's the owner of the damn company, who's never ever, I think, wanted to be associated with the company, but owns it. And I'm looking at myself like, folks... I don't know what this was. I don't know why it was. I don't know who it was. I don't know where it was trying to go.
Actually, it's actually now mostly Tony Khan. Apparently, 3 months ago, Daddy broke away from the company, so this is now all Tony Khan's money.
He's officially listed as the co-owner because now he's the silent partner of AEW.
Yeah, but apparently he actually broke off of his part of the deal with his son.
Can you blame him?
After he helped
the Jaguars. The Jaguars have at least made an AFC Championship game.
I'm about to say the last couple of years at that.
Yeah. So,
should we move on and should I?
Hold on.
Because I got to say this line at least once.
Okay.
No. When you're done.
No, hold on. So, folks, I don't know what that was. I'm looking forward to the follow-up because apparently instead of having a follow-up to a pay-per-view, which is only a couple weeks away, it's going to happen live on Dynamite.
Next week.
For free. But, okay, apparently you're...
No, the match is happening at the pay-per-view.
Oh, it is happening at the pay-per-view? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So time out. So I can't get Blood and Guts for $50, but I can get Cody, Now Call Me the Dream Rhodes... versus Anthony Wake Me Up Before You Go, or don't because
don't wake me
because hold on, Jesse, hold on.
I'll be sleeping.
No, hold on a sec. Let me rephrase. Anthony Wake Me Up Before You Go, but please don't, because at this point I'm not hanging on like a yo-yo. The promo was like a yo-yo going up and down, but
Lord,
I can run with that for about 6 hours. So,
we could, yes.
But I'm getting Anthony. Don't wake me up before you go. You a go-go. This promo was a yo-yo versus Cody. Now Call Me the Dream Rhodes
for one night only. By the way,
yeah, for one night only for $50.
And you're a dodo.
I'm okay with that.
I feel bad for Anthony because he's actually been doing decent work in this. And we're actually kind of getting to see him shine.
He's been fine, but the problem is that his stuff has apparently been marred by something that had no business being here.
So I actually feel bad for him because this is supposed to be his shining moment.
And now he has to
because he's technically so I brought this up last week when me and Leroy did the show.
Yeah.
He's technically blind in his left eye.
Yeah.
So like him wrestling is a dream, and he did an interview. He's like, I actually might be only able to do this for a couple of years because at some point the vision's going to go in that left eye.
But the question is now is he has to now be apparently an anti-American person, which was not the point of this. But all right, we'll come back to that when it happens.
He's in a group with 3 Americans. The whole thing has not made any fucking sense, to be honest.
Nope.
This is Spot Monkey.
And now we move on to, ladies and gentlemen, the pay-per-view main event. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Is Kenny Omega versus Pac, which at this point you have me because they've put on some good matches, and I love Pac, versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW World Title. Because I don't care what anyone says, if the fans love Orange Cassidy, he doesn't move the needle. Pac would. Pac's a mainstream star. But we've proven that...
I mean, what they've done, what they've really done, because they feel like maybe... They're wrong, by the way, but they feel like maybe Orange has finally picked up in the mainstream, but he has not. Where, to be fair, they have actually successfully, for the most part, make Darby Allin more of a draw, and he deserves it. He works his ass off. The young man does.
Yes. And by the way, I want to point something out because I was sort of I don't want to say I was misquoted because it's in text, but when he said, and they posted in the lounge, that Darby said, I wanted my reign to end while it was still hot, which I talked about with like Wolverine, Jerry Seinfeld, Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
I commented, and I quote, was it really? And I want to clarify my comments on Darby, because I don't really want to talk about this main event until it happens, because it makes no sense to me. Darby, while I'm not saying he wasn't hot, the problem is, yes, I get it that the fact that you stop it while it's hot means he can come back and be hot again. But there was still so much to do with it, and there was still so much they could have done and still gotten Darby up. Because, I mean, folks, Darby, I understand, is a sympathetic babyface type character, but he literally got squashed by Miro worse than Cody did from Brody Lee.
Yeah.
And what bothers me in that is that you had a guy who's one of your few bright spots.
Yeah.
Get squashed by a guy who, yes, is finally doing what he should have done from day one, but I still have 6 months of bad video game bullshit to think about.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me, as someone who's on the fence about this show, that I now am supposed to care that Miro is a monster, I'm going to walk in there as an underneath talent, look at him and say, okay, you're the TNT champion. Well, now we're on TBS. Talk about that in a second. But...
Oh, that's been brought up quite a bit now.
Yeah, but yo, dude, quick question. You're a beast, right? First of all, we now know that growing up in Bulgaria, you didn't get wacky races. We also found out that you shouldn't be allowed to text on your own Twitter because you say some really X-rated shit. And B, or actually C, I don't even. It's not his first language, so he won't know if it's B or C.
That is true.
But then we go to C. I'm supposed to worry about you when you were the best man in a Minnie Mouse T-shirt with Pip, don't call me Kip Sabian,
Pip,
and Penelope Pitstop. Now I'm the clean virgin, whatever. And I took my best friend, who I was the best man at his wedding, and I beat him up, broke his arm in a door, and then kissed him on the head like I loved him. I'm supposed to be afraid of you, but this was the first 6 months you were in this company.
The only reason he really did win the championship is because the former champion the week before was throw down 3 flights of stairs. So it's a champion who probably shouldn't even have wrestled the next week, but as soon as I told you guys, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, Darby's losing the championship.
When Jim Cornette brings up wrestling psychology, he's never wrong, because he brings up the psychology that worked for 100 years before these jerk-offs got it. If a babyface goes into a match and the referee is asking, do you want to continue, where in the wrestling annals has it made sense for the babyface, as the champion, to continue when he's clearly hurt?
Yeah.
The babyface is supposed to fight when it's his one chance, where he's getting revenge, or he's, being given something he always tried for, like with Dusty when he finally got the NWA title.
Yes.
Folks, if you're the champ and you have an icon next to you, you should strategize because you're supposed to be sports-based presentation, and you should pull out of the fight like Pacquiao should have done against Mayweather and postpone this because the referee's literally giving you the option.
No. To be fair to Darby, it wasn't even his decision. The owner of the company forced him to either be in the match or forfeit his championship.
But I'm talking about the psychology that Tony Khan is not making sense of.
I agree.
But anyway, now that we've gone from I've given you the main event to the next pay-per-view so that now we can hopefully not talk about it till after it happens because I don't want to talk about it because it's just...
Yeah, we won't.
Moving on to the tweet that was sent out shortly after you two gentlemen had a wonderful show, and Jesse said in a year you'll be in another 3-letter place. Shortly after that show, a tweet came out. Let me. Was it Sean Ross?
I believe it was Sean Ross Sapp.
Okay. So Sean Ross Sapp, who's
Fightful.
Yeah, for Fightful. He's one of those guys that, unlike Meltzer, we actually believe what he says.
That is true.
He sent out a tweet on May 19th. Hold on. Pause for Kane's music. Okay, we're good.
I hate everyone who still brings that up. I hate you all. I wish WWE would have never done that.
It's my buddy's birthday.
Oh, God. It's his
actual birthday.
Everyone's like, hey, May 19th, has anyone hit up Kane yet? Like,
according to Sean
You're
Ross
welcome.
Sapp of Fightful.com, AEW will move to TBS starting in January 2022, and AEW Rampage will debut...
August 13th.
Should have been a comma there, but it's Twitter, so no one cares.
Yeah.
Debut as a 1-hour show on Friday, August 13th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means it'll be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means somebody at TBS said, why would we try to compete with SmackDown? But we'll get into that a little bit here. So anyway, I sent this to Jesse.
Yeah.
But I first sent it to our friend Eric of the show, who argued with me when he asked a simple question in the DPW discussion lounge, where do you see them in 5 years? And I said, probably on TBS. He sat there and had to be like, oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
We told you
You
so.
called that. And then our boy Jacob, who's been on the show, even commented, okay, I'll eat a little crow on this. And I'm just like, guys, I don't want to be this guy because sometimes people think it's a character, but I'm actually going to be serious for a second. I am really good at being right here. Fuck you people. I'm apparently a goddamn fortune teller.
Well, when it comes to this shit, anybody could be.
Jesse, before we delve into more specifics, because again we have to add context, your thought to the quickness that this happened. But before you go in, Jesse, I want to remind people of what Jesse said so Jesse can piggyback off it. Folks, the NHL still draws more ratings on a regular season game. Jesse, after you.
You lost. You lost the argument. You were always going to lose the argument. It's very simple. TNT, even though they gave you the extension, you know what they see as? They see it as a game show.
Cheap programming.
They see it as a game show they can just throw on TBS.
You're a cheap game show that I'm surprised isn't currently being hosted by Joel McHale. And I love Joel McHale, but you're the cheap version of any.
And you're at the point where they're just like, hey, I mean, every now and then it hits 1 million, which none of the TBS shows really do, so I'll just do that.
Congratulations. You are now in between reruns of The Big Bang Theory, which are still going to do more numbers, and Wipeout, which is hosted by John Cena of the WWE,
who plans on going back to the WWE. So, you lost. You lost. This, and I still have a glimmer of hope for the company.
I'm stealing this comment from YouTube. I don't know who it is. Still from YouTube.
Yeah.
Congratulations to the official winners of the Wednesday Night Wars, the National Hockey League.
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah, they technically won it twice, to be fair to them. Because USA was like, yeah, we love you, Dub, but NXT, unfortunately, doesn't do the numbers. Got to pull you on Tuesday. Which Triple H didn't care about because he never wanted to be on Wednesday on anyway. He hated the idea. That was all Vince. And then Vince realized, oh, my show is, whatever Triple H runs down there is actually still better. I digress.
Yeah.
So, You lost.
Mm-hmm.
You lost. Now, the only thing you can hope for is that this is a new opportunity for them to do better. Because
Eric did point out that TBS is in 1 million more homes.
Yeah.
But the problem that there is, once again, please allow me to add context to Eric's statement. When you were by yourself that first week, you had a great number, over 1 million. Well, sadly, that's a great number now, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You were over 1 million. The next week,
my, how wrestling has fallen.
You went down because a bunch of people tuned in, didn't know you were there, saw you, and were like, "Oh, is the Teletubbies rerun on yet?" and then
You said Teletubbies. Come on, man.
What's worse?
I don't know. I have sat through an episode of the Teletubbies.
I haven't.
Still more entertaining than this.
It's for half an hour. It's definitely better than anything the Bucks would do.
Yeah.
I just look at.
So you're saying
Ice Road Truckers is on. Okay.
So when you say the Bucks, you mean literally one segment. Okay. Because it has to be a 25-minute match.
We could watch the Milwaukee Bucks. They're a lot better.
Yeah, no. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Giannis.
They're in the playoffs.
I see no falsity there.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway. But no, okay. So the context is this. Okay, you're in 1 million more homes. The average viewer of TBS is waiting for Conan, which is going to go off the air at some point. So you're in between Wipeout, Conan, and reruns of The Big Bang Theory and Family Guy, which does more viewers than you do.
I'm about to say its backlog does more.
Season 1 of Family Guy still does more ratings than AEW Dynamite.
Isn't American Dad on there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, which by the way, American Dad's actually got a better deal for TV than AEW does. That's the sad thing.
Because it got moved off of Fox Sunday for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, back to my point. The context is this. You might get a big number for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But you've proven that eventually you will turn off all of the casual viewers or the people who tune in and are only going to watch you as a joke, as I've proven through a friend.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that friend we'll have on the show here fairly soon, my buddy John, to explain how he enjoys AEW. But, we'll be nice. We'll be nice. Maybe.
I mean, I do enjoy some of it. I'm sure we'll get
John.
a little bit of it.
You probably know John Lepke.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Me and him were actually talking about AEW a couple weeks ago.
So anyway, back to my point. The context is this. Once again, you've proven, because, again, I'm always right because I just look at the facts.
Shit.
You've proven.
I thought your ego was getting big. Shit. This guy over here.
Oh, it's not bigger than mine.
That's true.
He's not going to be able to get that big.
But that's my point. I'm not saying I'm right because I have a giant ego. I'm right because the facts prove I'm right.
There we go.
Jesse's losses against me have proven that I'm right.
Yeah.
But my point is this, is that
you beat me once, so sorry.
You've proven that, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be good for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to do the same old bullshit, and we're going to go back down. And yes, the big Dynamites will still be on TNT, the 4 Clash of Champions that they're going to get per year. But
did you say the 4 Clash of Champions?
Well, that's what they gave them.
That's
essentially what they gave them.
Pretty much they're going to get
the same basic idea. But
this typical Clash of Champions not going to be called that.
Hold on.
Yeah,
now we're forgetting this. Now we're forgetting the big wrinkle that everyone said was the true victory. And I'll give Tony Khan credit. He didn't make the same mistake Vince did with Raw. He was offered a 3rd hour of Dynamite, and he decided to split it into a different show.
Smart.
I think
smart.
that's smart, but again, that's learning from what Vince did.
Yeah.
That's not him making a miraculous epiphany. That's just learning from Vince's mistake.
Because Raw is still
But here's the
problem.
But here's the problem. They gave you Rampage, which again, please don't insult one of my favorite video games from childhood, but whatever, you've already done that.
That's a pretty good movie.
Yes,
it was all right. I mean, The Rock's great.
Yeah.
It had The Rock.
But here's the deal, folks. Then we get into the typical Dave Meltzer writings of, and again, I'm not saying Dave specifically said this. I've read this in multiple places because obviously specifics are not always sent out.
Yeah.
But this is Dave. This is how Dave would spin it. They've been given an 8-figure signing bonus for the new hour. Folks, 8 figures is anywhere from 10 to 99 million, and I guarantee you for only an hour of television, it ain't 50 million. And even if it is, you're doing it 50 weeks a year, it's $1 million a show.
Yeah.
It's not
costing nothing.
If you had gotten 9 figures for a 1-hour extension, then I would have to eat the crow.
Yeah.
But also, and to quote my boy Gene, this is why I love Gene, he's so quick with these, because I haven't told either one of you this.
Okay.
You got an 8-figure raise. Here's hoping Tony Khan don't waste it on music rights. Anyway.
Oh.
By the way, quick question.
Damn.
What the fuck is that for John Moxley? So I was watching
That's
this
the
week.
original?
No, it's
No.
It's the cover from the movie.
It's
But what
cover
No.
from the movie.
It's by the
Togs.
The Togs.
No, they did originally. What he bought was not the original.
Yeah, it was the cover.
the remake
Yeah.
cover that they used.
Which was Joan
in
Jett.
Major. No, they didn't use Joan. No, it was not Joan.
That's
Jett.
not Joan Jett. That's the one from the
In Major
baseball
League.
movie. Yep.
From Major League.
Yeah.
But
They
you couldn't
used
even get me
that
the
one.
Joan Jett version, which would have made a little more sense. It also doesn't fit Moxley.
But thank you.
Of the
I know.
top.
Why do they keep trying to turn him into Stone Cold? He's not.
I don't know.
I don't.
Can I also
he's
point
a
something-
superstar on his own. What are you doing?
Can I also point something out? Can we?
Though I
can we
will give
look at the
Next
three-
Caster
Can we look,
a lot of credit. That line about Renee was pretty damn funny.
Yeah. Can we look,
Got him his ass whooped, but it was
Right,
pretty
yeah.
funny.
Can we look at the 3 musical Now, okay, I will give Tony Khan credit. Real music outside of Jim Johnston, to me, always hits me more.
Yeah.
That's why I loved Edge for all these years, because he went with Alter Bridge.
Jim did a great job for years. That's why a
But-
music man in your company matters.
Yeah, no. I agree, but my point is that Triple H with Lemmy, Edge with Metalingus Alter Bridge,
Yeah.
Edge with Rob Zombie, going with songs that are already well known, it kind of helps a little more.
Yeah.
But let's look at the references we're making. The Pixies are mentioned for Orange Cassidy. I don't know where that has to do with Orange Cassidy.
I don't get it either.
You've got
Yeah.
Wild Thing, which isn't even Joan Jett, which would have made more sense because
No.
hold on.
I disagree because it doesn't make sense. Period.
No, I
because
agree.
John Moxley doesn't need it.
But what I'm saying is that it would have made more sense because Joan Jett's at least a bigger name.
Just pay New Japan to take that theme. It's actually a better theme anyway.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
then you get, and this one actually works. The problem is it's from the freaking 60s or 50s. Then you get the Tarzan song for Jungle Boy solely so the fans can do this and that. Oh, by the way, this will be Jesse's favorite part. I forgot. There's a 4th one that I keep forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying for Judas,
Okay.
and the guy's there.
Zach. Yeah. Tarzan Boy is not from the 50s or 60s.
It might as well be.
I think that one's from the 70s, isn't it?
No.
Is that the?
Oh,
That's
it's the
the
80s.
80s.
It's the
Yeah.
80s? Leroy, it's still 40 years old. You can't find
Yeah,
That's Tarzan
anything
Boy.
from the last
Jungle.
10 years.
And by the way, it's called Jungle Life, people.
It's not Jungle Life. Yeah, Tarzan Boy is in the theme, just like the lovely, the brain fart is the one song that everybody calls. Yeah, and I forgot it. But there's a lot of references to.
that Pixie song it's never. So at first they were trying
It's
to
a
use
good
it,
song.
they
I
were
love
trying
the
to-
song.
At first they were trying to use it for all the members, which made no fucking sense. So the Best Friends went back to their normal music, but now they kept it for Cassidy. and it still makes no fucking sense. Because
disagree.
Cassidy's character is already proven.
Right.
He's actually a smart character.
Yeah.
He's just nonchalant about shit.
Yeah,
Oh.
Now
my brain works.
I disagree with Jim Cornette when I hear a lot of the themes because I actually love me some death metal, but
yeah.
Rhea Ripley's song makes sense for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half these other people, dude, the only theme in my opinion that has made any sense is actually Top Flight because they come out. It's a neat little rap beat. It's not crazy.
That's from actually. It's smart because they also got a local Minnesota rapper to do that one too. So it's from the cities. area. So it works for the boys.
Who was the actual?
I forget
rapper?
his name. And I
I've
should hit up a friend of mine, Eddie Kane.
Well, he can look it up too.
But yeah, So Top Flights actually works because the guy's from Minneapolis.
First Class is
the rapper, right?
Featuring Rated. Raider?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those things where that one works, and that's actually one that they self-produced.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. It's actually it's not bad. Darby Allin. Darby actually got an old punk band who has done music for him before to make his theme.
Yeah.
Works for him.
Oh yeah.
I Fell's a really, really good song.
Yeah.
Their other self-produced one, like with Sting, I like it. It kind of gives Sting like this, this big feel when he comes out. Cause it's like God, and then you kind of see
he's the icon as well. So yeah.
Well, Cody's rap theme sucks. Sorry, Snoop, it sucks. It's fucking horrible. But the one he had from
it is
from the boys who of course did the Miz's song as well.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah,
those guys actually understand themes, making them work for wrestlers.
Yeah, but my whole thing about this is just this is once again proof positive.
Oh,
that I don't know.
And the other one I used to like before Kenny turned into an asshole was actually Kenny Omega's music because it actually fits.
Yeah. No, I'm not denying that. But again, the only thing that you've proven to spend money on, which
Young Bucks music sucks, but they suck. They've always sucked. BTE fucking sucks. Sammy Guevara's vlog is better. Why does anyone? Their fucking numbers have finally gone down, and they treated it as a joke. Their numbers on YouTube went down some, and they've treated it as a joke. I don't know why people. I'm actually on Jim Cornette's side finally when it comes to the Young Bucks. I don't know why anyone likes these jackasses. They are a waste of time.
They're a little more believable as heels because they are smarmy assholes, but we digress on that. But
here's a question.
Yeah.
Do we need another hour of AEW?
Oh, also, since wrestling. I'm insulting the Young Bucks,
do we need another hour of that?
Rucha Kankomongo sucks. So I talked to a ton of Californians, and they told me the city sucks. So as much as you keep bringing your friends in, that's why the product sucks. Because the town sucks. You got average wrestlers who suck. You relegated Brandon Cutler once again to nothing. Why are you even paying him $300,000? He should just retire again.
$300K.
Suck. Now let's address your question. I just wanted to get that out.
Leroy is referring to the fact that do we need another hour? Because here's the deal. Because here's the deal.
No.
Hold on now.
Do we need to whole another hour of AEW if it's going to be the same shit?
But that's the point that I was trying to make. Okay, the real question should be because technically now we have to look at Rampage and we have to ask ourselves,
it's going to be Thunder.
Hold on. Before we get to that, is it going to be an hour of Dark or is it going to be an hour of Dynamite?
It's going to be an hour of Dynamite.
And that's the issue. That's the issue is that folks, first of all, the only genius move about Rampage is once again someone probably talked the executive vice presidents out of this because I guarantee that they were like, let's take the 7 slot. No.
You're not going to compete with SmackDown. You'll get no viewers.
Guys, first of all, even if you go head-to-head with SmackDown, it's only 60 minutes. SmackDown is 120. They're going to get more viewership because everyone's just going to flip the channel when it's over. And by the way, Roman's not even on until the last segment anyway because he's the freaking Roman.
Sometimes the problem, so that's the big problem. Roman's sometimes on throughout the whole 2-hour show, and he's probably the best thing in wrestling right now. You don't compete with that.
No.
Do you want me to? Okay. This is Rampage if they start at 7 o'clock. Hi, welcome to Rampage.
No one's watching. No one's
there.
Here's the other problem I have with Rampage. So you told me that, and then I started to think, what the fuck was Big Show brought in for then? What was the point?
To be a YouTube star.
What, really?
To be a YouTube star.
He's actually pretty good at this.
But hold on, Jesse.
It makes no sense.
Number one,
do the show on Thursday.
Number one.
Tape it, do it on Thursday.
Number one, slightly deep breath for Jesse so I can get this out.
Sorry.
Number one,
I got my voice back
Yeah,
this week.
number one, Leroy and I have both admitted, because we have paid more attention than Dynamite. Sadly, I still have to pay attention to Dynamite. Leroy's okay. Someday I'm gonna make you pay attention to Dynamite because it's on Hulu.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I learned that recently.
Oh yeah,
it's on Hulu.
Oh yeah,
yeah. TNT puts it on Hulu.
I don't watch it live. Are you freaking kidding me? I have a life.
I don't.
You have no life?
I have no life.
Well, you are a Jets fan.
Yeah.
So anyway, no,
Okay.
no. I always watch the reruns on Hulu. You just type in AEW Dynamite. It's got a picture of Cody abdominal stretching Dustin.
Is this the
from one of their actual better matches?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
See, I have the one with commercials. With that one?
Yeah.
Oh,
My dad doesn't pay for
shit.
my,
Well, that's 2 hours of my life has gone to hell.
Yep.
yeah.
Ah,
Just drink it. Just drink and watch it. You'll be fine.
Brian
let
Last
me entertain. I'll probably
Brian
take
Last
it.
Brian Last apparently watches it high now. So
As a matter of fact,
If I did that, I probably might enjoy
Yeah.
it more.
you come home, you put the kids to bed, you want to get in the tub after you take a shit. Watch it while you're getting ready to fall asleep in the tub. It's the same fucking thing every week.
Okay,
As much as AEW fans talk about Raw.
you know, that's a wonderful idea, but I might want to throw the TV into the tub.
Well, if you watch it on your phone,
when did you
won't be,
become suicidal just because you had to watch Dynamite?
Well, you never know.
Listen, to be fair to you,
I'm gonna need a minute after that one.
to be fair to you,
Don't do it, Leroy. Don't do it.
I've thought about it. Like an hour in,
You've got so much to live
like
for.
I'm like, if I take myself out now,
Yeah, who would you do the podcast with if I'm not
Oh
here?
my
I
God.
know you
that's
can do
funny.
Jesse, but
To be
yeah.
fair, you got a smart son there. He might be able to figure this out.
he might.
Yeah.
Well, maybe on Thursday, with the kids, hey, Eben, let's watch this. What's this? Well, this is the stuff that me and Zach rip on. Let's check it out.
But okay,
You might
so
find it
folks,
funny.
now we have. Hold on a sec. Should I go?
shit. Are we talking people into watching Dynamite or
No.
AEW by telling them it's on Hulu though? I'm not trying to promote it.
Well, get
But the
Hulu. There's
ratings
a lot
won't
of good
matter
stuff
after
on
the
Hulu.
fact.
Yeah,
The ratings are only mattering live, bro. They don't give a shit about replay.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Oh
so now, and I'm gonna, and you know what? For the AEW audience,
you know what? And I got it. Like I said, I
We love
actually
you.
do like Dynamite. But every week you're absolutely right. It's frantic as shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really good stuff on there, but the bad stuff sometimes is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
You forget about the good
So
stuff.
now I'm going to go in alphabetical order for the AEW audience. We now have Dark, which we give a good plus to.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's really
yes.
good.
It's
every week.
a solid B plus type promotion. You now you're going to have now you're going to have Dynamite on Fridays. Or no, they're still Wednesday, but they'll be on TBS.
Yeah.
Which, again, cool. You'll have a big number for, 2 weeks, and then go back to the same thing? Because then people will be like, well, I guess I'm not watching TBS from 7 to 9 every Wednesday.
Or to be like, I thought.
Then we have Elevation, which we give a solid C plus to only because it's newer, but it's still a decent show.
I actually give it a B because
Okay, we'll
they've
give
been
it a B.
actually trying to do more on it, and the fact that they deciding to introduce a new show makes no fucking sense because why did you pay Big Show? But continue.
And now we have Rampage, which we don't know the plan for, but we can only assume the Bucks are now going to have to, instead of work 1 day a week, they're going to have to work 2 days a week to write an hour-long show.
Oh no! The poor Young Bucks.
They're only working 4 hours a day anyway.
The poor
gonna write a show?
poor Young Bucks who aren't going to get any better at this have to work more. Oh,
If they have to write for this show,
Who
it's
else
gonna
is going to
suck.
do it?
I don't know.
Brandon Cutlet?
JR, he'd do a lot better.
JR
He
has
could do it in-
recently
he could do it in 20
JR
minutes.
recently was another part of the news.
He already said
recently
that
said
he-
his
he only wants
contract's
to sign
almost
for a
up,
year, yep.
and he's only going to re-sign if they offer him a 1 year
year,
deal.
yeah.
If they offer him and say, "Hey, we want you for at least 2 or more," JR's out.
yeah.
Which means now I'm forced to listen to the Dynamite version of Excalibur with Tony Schiavone by himself. Oh joy! Oh joy!
All I can say is,
The
please,
man,
AEW,
the man who gets
offer
credit.
him 3 years.
The man who gets credit.
No.
Hold on.
I hope he decides to walk away.
I said, Offer JR 3 years AEW.
Oh, yeah, so he can walk away.
Tony Schiavone, the man who, is credited with killing the ratings of WCW because he said, oh boy, that'll put butts in seats, and then also was the guy who was gone for so long from wrestling. He missed the Attitude Era, he missed the Ruthless Aggression Era, he missed the PG era, he's only in the COVID area because it's probably not safe for him to leave Jacksonville. But anyway, so
yes,
folks, let's now run down the list of things that AEW has done in less than 2 years. You're no longer going to be on TNT, so you couldn't even keep wrestling on TNT for 2 years, which Vince could have done on his name alone.
Yeah.
So you're no longer on TNT.
If he and Ted Turner didn't hate each other so fucking much.
Yeah. So you're no longer on TNT, which was their sports network. Now you're getting moved to their comedy network because that's where you belong.
It works.
Yes. You have proven that your fans will sit there and try to at me like, look at all this money, and I'm like, do the numbers. Because, by the way, I did the numbers to a coworker who knows nothing about wrestling, but I did the numbers. I did the 4-year 175. I did the 50 shows a year. She looked at me and she was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense why they think that's a lot of money. I'm like, cool. You don't even know what I'm talking about. You get this.
Yeah.
So
USA and Fox are paying way.
Well, here's the other thing. The $200 million from Fox, I'm pretty sure that's a yearly deal.
Yeah.
So it's $200 million a year. Peacock's paying you $1 billion over 5, folks.
But they're going to get their money back and more.
Actually, what they're going to make from Peacock isn't $1 billion. They're going to make $3 billion because the $1 billion is just to solidify that they're getting everything from the network.
Yep.
But they're getting a good product.
But they're about to say they're getting a vast, credible library.
Yep.
And you're getting a whole bunch of people that are going to
means
join Peacock.
Because while the numbers were kind of awful at times for network, having 15 million subscribers means Peacock is going to be set at least the next 10 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The other thing about it, okay, so possibly losing the greatest living announcer, because why would he want to be a part of this shit show any longer? You're adding another hour of TV. You got 8 figures, which again could be nowhere. Where here's the deal. Rampage is every week, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say they gave him $60 million. You're running 50 shows a year. It's $1.5 million for a show.
Yeah.
Yo. The cast of Friends were making $1 million an episode towards the end,
and that's each one of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So clearly.
But to be fair, they were actually averaging like 30 million viewers a show.
There you go.
So yeah,
well, they got their money's worth.
So here's the deal. To my wonderful friends in the DPW lounge, folks, you're not beating hockey. You're not beating the NBA. You're not considered. Like, you didn't make yourself sporty enough to want TNT to save you. TNT's looking at this like, oh, it's a comedy sketch. That's why you're on their comedy network with the Big Bang Theory reruns that are still doing more than you.
Yeah.
And Family Guy.
And Family Guy, American Dad, you name it, whatever. But here's the deal.
It's good stuff.
But here's the deal, folks. Once again, our show is now adding context to an AEW deal, and it shows that I could do that for Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty's doing better.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty's been extended for 74 episodes, and Adult Swim has a decent amount of cash.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to get DVD sales. They have a ton of merchandise selling.
Well, Cartoon Network just does well. Period.
Yeah.
It's not as big as it used to be, but it still does very well.
But it's like, folks,
probably pays for most of the bills at TNT at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Warner at this point.
But it's
probably.
But it's like, folks, again, the context doesn't make sense when you're trying to tell me that you're winning something. The NHL, which is probably the 4th most loved sport in America, and I'll be honest with that, but it's my first love, but I'm from Minnesota. I grew up with hockey. It's my favorite sport, but it's the 4th most watched sport in America.
It does not compete with the NFL, NBA, or MLB.
Even baseball, even baseball does better ratings.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. The NFL does billions of viewers. Basketball does hundreds of millions. Baseball does a good 10 to 20-some million a year.
The NFL is basically a fucking religion in this country.
Yes.
We've
national...
discussed that at church.
Yeah.
You know what's sad?
It really is.
Think about what I just said math-wise. So for sports, we did $1 billion, we did $100 million, we've done $10 million. Even if the NHL averages 2 million viewers for every regular season game on Wednesday night, it's still better than anything Dynamite ever gave you.
Yep.
Which, of course, is never going to do just 2.
So once again, to my friends, get off the hopamine and understand that I'm not trying to be that guy who says, fuck the wrestling business. I'm trying to be the guy who's at least being honest that can the fans of AEW finally, because apparently they're only going to listen to you, can we finally all stand up and say to the Young Bucks and Kenny and Cody and mostly Tony, it all rhymes, I just realized.
Oh, my God.
That's why the Bucks
scary.
are the outcast, because their names don't rhyme with Kenny, Cody, and Tony. Phony. There we go.
There we go.
Then that
Kenny, Cody, Tony, and the phonies. Anyway,
I fucking hate the Young Bucks. Oh my god.
the Youngies.
I just
Anyway, but here's
yeah,
the
let's
deal.
not try it. Yeah,
But here's the deal. Okay, folks, ladies and gentlemen, can we finally stand up as a complete unit, link arms, sing Kumbaya, and at least admit that this makes me want to go sleep, not get up before I go.
like I said, what I don't understand is
this show is sponsored by Wham.
Why is every...
I'm gonna be able to use that joke every show, and Leroy's still gonna laugh.
What album is that
I don't
from?
understand.
I gotta find out what album.
If I'm Cody, this is
it
why
was in Deadpool.
This is why if I'm Cody,
yeah,
I take my majority, which he does kind of have a majority share. Apparently, we're gonna actually hear about this on the fucking reality show he's gonna do with his wife. I can't believe this.
Oh, that's right. We still have that to look forward to. I forgot that was still a thing.
That's coming. So,
okay, we're not. Okay, that's something that we're not looking for. That's something that we have to deal with.
So Brandy and Cody have a majority.
Ms. and Mrs., in my opinion, is funny because it's real. Cody and Brandy are going to put on a face. You know they are.
I don't think so. So they put out some clips recently, and someone said they actually got to see the first few episodes.
Okay.
And in one of those episodes, they're like, I don't get why Cody and these guys are trying to laugh this shit off. Cody truly must feel this way because apparently he talks about it in episode 2.
Oh, really?
So because he has a majority share.
He does.
So at some point,
mostly because of his name. But
well, I think he also has a majority share because I think people were willing to work with him more than these other guys. They have no fucking.
Well, but
idea
that's
who
what
they're
I'm
dealing
saying
with.
is that once again the context of what we were talking about, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
The majority of the roster were guys who were like, okay, Cody had a good indie run.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the majors with him.
Yeah.
But the problem is that everyone that the Bucks brought were the bottom of the barrel of what they were willing to work with. I mean, Jesse, I hate to say it, if you took the PWG roster when they first came to PWG, it's still better than what they brought.
Well, yeah.
That PWG roster was loaded.
I got to be honest.
Also, they wouldn't be making a joke out of your boy Chucky T.
That's true. Yes.
I digress. I can't get into that because I'm already angry right now with AEW.
Right, yeah.
But it's one of those things where I think Cody in the next 6 months you're gonna hear about the blow up because I think what you're gonna hear about is him going, I'm taking my majority share and I'm being the boss here for once because he really does. Him and Brandy really do want to build a future for their child. What I respect about Brandy as a businesswoman.
Good. Then Brandy, stay at home, do the backstage business. Please don't go on television.
So
unless I get Brandy twice a year to give me a heifer comment.
That was
God
pretty good.
damn it, I didn't love that.
Stay off Twitter.
But she was defending her husband. It was terrible to defend her husband on that.
I know.
I've seen not Stephanie, but I've seen other wives defend worse.
This is why I love my lovely fiance. Because if I ever did something like that, she'd tell me on Twitter, the fuck was that?
Tell you, no, she'd walk up to you, club you in the head, and say, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
Exactly. But she'd still put it on.
Well,
on
yes,
Twitter
she would.
too.
She'd make sure that we'd find out.
Exactly.
I think what you'll see in the next 6 months to a year is Cody's just going to take control because they clearly don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Also, can I point something out?
You got Kenny Omega, like you just said. He's talked about going back to go retire in Japan.
I still say we're the only show that
I'm with you.
I still say that we're the only show, and I'm serious, regardless of how many viewers, I still say we're the only show that literally we've thrown a dart at the AEW board and we've hit a bullseye every time.
Yeah.
Seriously, when have we been wrong? Everyone says, "Oh, you guys have been wrong." This, that. No, we've said the same thing you saw, but we've added context, and then see the problem is that everything good that's happened to them is the cause. We've always been right about the effect because we've been willing to add the context to it. The effect of a 4-year, $175 million deal is 50 shows a year minimum.
Yeah.
Adds up to what was like 680,000 a goddamn show.
That, yeah.
Something like that.
The freaking NHL deal alone pays for that. Like you said, Adult Swim, Rick and Morty's paying for this shit. In an alternate universe, Rick and Morty is paying for AEW television.
They are.
And they're sitting there thinking, why are we doing that?
Then it was they're going to get kicked off TNT. Well, here's why. You want to know why Vince doesn't get moved as much? It's because Vince is getting paid too much money to be a flexible schedule.
Yep.
You guys are not getting paid dick.
Yeah, no.
Also, here's the deal. If Tony Khan's not a complete moron, which again, in business, I agree he's okay, but sports is a whole nother topic. We've already discussed that. What if this 175 is going to pay for some of the 6-figure contracts they're giving to 4-figure guys?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Joey Janela on the name alone can't work for $1,000. Joey can make a living in wrestling for $1,000.
Yeah.
That's all he's worth. He's making $100,000. He's making 6 goddamn figures.
I wish I could. All right. Sure.
We're not moving on from this just yet.
Okay, jeez.
But going back,
right.
so now you're moving to another network because you're cheap programming. I don't care if it's in a million more households. Here's the deal. If you don't bring in all those million households plus what you're already bringing over and get to the 2 million mark, that 4-year deal is going to run out, and they're going to look at you and say, okay, time to renew because, you guys are still decent programming.
You'll get the same amount of money.
And they're going to offer you maybe less, and you're going to be like, well, wait a minute. What? And they're going to look at you and be like, no, guys, your freaking cash cow left 4 years ago when he signed you. Guys, you don't even bring in what Raw does.
No. Raw is not a competent show every week.
You need, folks, I'm not joking. Let's take the 850,000 they average.
Yeah.
You have to bring in every single one of those million households every single week for the next 4 years for this to make any goddamn sense. You are on their comedy network. It's a network of reruns and like 4 original shows that end up fizzling out because they're just throwaway shows. But you're not on TNT. You're on TBS. Folks, this is the channel that literally even the commercials for saying, hi, welcome to TBS, they're not even taken seriously 99% of the goddamn time.
No, they're not.
You're also on, by the way, TBS, they're promoting a new show that is being hosted by one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time.
Yeah.
What are we discussing that you won something, that you're getting better? Oh, they gave us 8 figures. That's anywhere from 10 to 99 million. WWE's getting 200 million from not only Fox, they're getting 200 million from USA, and they're getting 200 million from friggin' Peacock. That's going to turn into, like you said, probably 400 million.
I'm about to say, by the time the deals even come close up and TV deals, the WWE probably would have made like $5 billion.
Okay, you know why it's working for him at TBS, and they're not worried about that show? Because they can't see him.
That's your comeback for me making you laugh about Anthony Ogogo, Wake Me Up?
Well, You Can't See Me always works for him, apparently.
Did you ever see him on the Graham Norton show when he said that his brother told him to do it as a joke, and now he's been doing it for 15 years? I'll send you that link.
I saw it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was on God, I have to
He's
check
on the
that
Graham
out.
Norton show.
I love the Graham Norton show. It's freaking hilarious.
And it was reviewed and it was revealed that his brother told him to do it as a joke when he was doing the rapper gimmick, and now he's been doing it for like 20 years of his life.
Oh my God, that's about as good as Kane going, or Glenn Jacobs. You know how I got the head tilt? From my dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Oh my God.
But it's just, before we move on, because again, I always like to leave an AEW topic with us getting to the root of the context, which is, Jesse, you said last week, once again, great job, boys.
Thank you.
They'll be on TBS in a year. I told Eric in 5 years they'll be on TBS. We got what?
We're a little
5 or 6 months left in this year. and as of January 1st, they're going to be on TBS.
Yeah, we're a little ahead of it.
Yeah, holy shit,
they're
Jesse.
A little ahead of us. Man.
I mean, no. Jesse finally gets a win because he bet the under, I bet the over, but it's like, what?
And I'm a guy who tries to see the good in the company. But
I know.
I saw the writing on the wall. I'm like, they'll be on TBS in a fucking year if this keeps up.
But it's just, here's the deal. The other thing that we have mentioned many times, but I don't think we've actually thrown the dart and tried to make people understand. This show has been on the air for a year and a half.
October will be 2 years, I believe.
October's their 2 year.
Yes, it'll be 2 years in
What
October.
they've proven in that amount of time was outside of a 3-month period where I'm pretty sure they were all off the drugs. Probably because TNT wanted them tested, but anyway.
No, they don't test.
That was actually decent programming.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about what anyone says. They're going to do what they want, and they don't care. Jesse brought it up earlier. Everybody hates the writing staff in WWE. They're not this bad.
No.
They're not. In no flippin' way can a writing staff be this bad of a bunch of yahoos from Rancho Cucamonga who are all in a group text, and it's like they're planning some freaking project for school that, guess what? Half of them aren't actually doing any work. Because it's true.
That sounds
like
about
I said, I'll probably end up hitting the under of the prediction I just gave. But in about 6 months to a year, you're going to hear Cody decided to just take his control share.
Here's the deal. I actually want Cody to do that now.
I would love for Cody to do that
I would love for Cody Rhodes to say, here's the deal, boys. Take your bags and go home or get in line.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, they're going to sit there and realize, oh, shit, we didn't get better contracts because you're all about the money, boys, and you don't look at the fine print because you never freaking have. Because New Japan threw you out like you were yesterday's news and nobody gave a shit.
They did a beatdown angle that everyone loved to do it. That beatdown angle was so well put, they might have not even told them about it.
Can I also point something out?
For real, Cody might have been the only one who knew.
How many people in that?
They're probably like, oh, let's get rid of these fucking guys.
How many people in the beatdown angles straight up do you think probably turned around and were like, you know what? Well, you know what? We're gonna work the night for free.
you know what? The Tongas might have been like, dude, you don't have to pay us tonight. We will give this ass whooping for free, son.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesse's gonna get us kicked off YouTube for the amount of F-bombs he drops in a row. But I'm okay with that. Leroy hasn't updated our YouTube in over 3 months.
Yes. He does it every Monday.
What?
Well, I got to add some more.
Yeah, no, he does.
It's
been a while.
I've been a little
You've been busy, I know. Yeah.
A lot of too much stuff going on.
That's true. But it's just okay, so going back to the point, my biggest problem is this. Cody's the only one who, whether his shit's made sense or been good recently, he's at least shown that, and you know what? Sadly, again, I think he's doing it too quickly. He's at least showing I'm going to go to different things.
Yeah.
The Bucks have the same match against the same people every week, and I hate to say that because it doesn't matter what tag team they go against. And by the way, this past week, with the Varsity Blondes, that might have been the worst burial of an up-and-coming tag team I've ever seen in my life.
It was bad.
It was so bad. Jim Cornette. Think about this. Jim Cornette, love him or hate him, Jesse, has worked with every major wrestling company in the last 30 years. Minus AEW, but that's obvious. Technically, he kind of does work with them, just more off to the side, like fuck you.
Yeah.
But anyway, he called it the worst finish he's ever seen in wrestling.
It was
because and you want to know why? Here's the deal. I always say the Bucks top their worst finish every week because it's like, oh, they just go too long. The match was probably 7 minutes too long, and they decided to fill that 7 minutes with the most outrageously dumb shit I've ever seen in my life. You find a foreign object and you don't disqualify them. And for those of you who are like, well, they never disqualified Eddie, I'm like, Eddie rolled you up before the referee could make a decision. These guys stood there and watched the referee hold the can of cold spray for about 45 seconds. Go back and watch it. And then, of course, you take, and this is going to make me cry a little bit because I can't wait to watch it, even though it's going to make me cry. Brian Pillman Sr. just had his episode of Dark Side of the Ring come up. And you piggyback off of that by burying his direct, not just son, but namesake.
Yeah.
Yes.
You bury him and the guy who, yes, is actually getting better and better each week, Mr. Garrison, and you bury their ass in one of the most outlandishly egregious burials I've ever seen in wrestling.
Only to probably have Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston win the titles, which will be better for the tag team division.
You don't even give him a pity win 1 week over the tag team champions and say, hey, everyone out there, this is Brian Pillman Sr.'s direct bloodline namesake son. And you shit on that? Are you kidding me? Flying Brian rolls over in his grave. May he rest in the greatest of peace. Because it's just like, what the fucking hell is going on here?
And what was worse is they let
Let's
Brian...
look at Dark Side of the Ring so far. Nick Gage is now known in more households in America than we ever thought possible. Even though I'm still not a fan of his version of Deathmatch, because what he does in CZW seems to be reserved only for CZW, because when he goes to other places, it's too much. The North Korean collision is probably going to add context to, yes, to quote the man himself, Too Cold Scorpion has worked a bigger show than Hulk Hogan can ever hope to wrestle ever in his life. Also, New Jack, may he rest in peace, was having a resurgence of a career after the whole episode for him.
And because people were actually getting to know him more.
Exactly. But Dark Side of the Ring has brought a lot to wrestling where, this happened, but now we'll go back and we'll look at what the good was.
Yeah.
But you have shit on one of the saddest stories ever in wrestling that, okay, look, David Benoit, it's going to be a little harder for him to make his name in wrestling.
Yes.
We get that. Not going to go into it. We know why. But where is the stain on the Pillman name? There isn't one. No. You not only gave him a tag team start just like his dad, you gave him a close name, you gave him a cheerleader local girl from up here, Julia Hart, who, by the way, is perfectly sized to make them look bigger, because they're not big dudes like they're like the Hollywood blondes were. But it's an aesthetically pleasing look. She's also a lovely young lady.
She is.
Oh, she is, yes.
But for the love of God, that episode is not even a month old, and you shit on his direct namesake.
The worst part is they gave Brian Pillman a chance to do a promo before it, and it was so good because it was heartfelt.
It also, by the way, it was also the first promo I think maybe in the history of Dynamite that wasn't interrupted.
True, but he does a promo.
That's a bonus
because he talked about how listen, he stayed away from the business because of what happened with his dad, because his mother basically tried to tell him the wrestling business kills your father. And
Brian Pillman died of a broken heart.
Yeah.
I always quote Jim Ross from the original DVD that came out. Brian Pillman died of a broken heart.
But, he was like, I stayed away because of what happened with my dad. And then he related that to his, his personal relationship with the Young Bucks. He probably can't mention Davey Boy Smith, Bulldog's son. But, and how, they brought me back into wrestling because I wasn't going to do it. I was never going to get into this business.
I'm also angry that in that same interview, Griff Garrison, because, Jim Cornette talked about this, how Griff Garrison said he worked a merch table for them. Fine if that's what you did, but you couldn't have come up with something that made you sound a little more badass?
Only reason I'm not against the one he cut was because what he was saying overall was I worked a merch table for them, and they're the reasons I ended up getting into pro wrestling because he was actually a pretty good football player.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying these guys are assholes now. I don't even recognize them from the kid.
No. I agree. All I'm saying is that when you think about he's technically the Stone Cold of the Varsity Blondes, you couldn't have delivered that with a little more heat.
Yeah. Only reason I gave him a pass. Because he's young. He'll get better at promos for sure.
In all honesty, Leroy, look this interview up because it was actually very well done.
It was a good promo between those two.
But then, and folks, I know we're spending a lot of time on this one topic, but folks, You have to understand.
Dude, but here, I don't mean to interrupt you,
but you've been handed Brian Pillman Jr. on a silver fucking platter, and you are shitting on that platter.
Like,
yes.
Basically, the way this match ends, and I know we didn't talk about it because it happened this past week, but it was one of those. So the match ends with them using. By the way, they lost because of a can of cold spray. It's a can that New Japan uses when they don't have enough ice packs to try to chill down the wrestlers.
The referee saw it.
I know, because they're so good in AEW.
So they bury the refs like they always do.
Was it Rick Knox? Was it their favorite referee, Rick Knox? Of course it was Rick Knox.
Of course it was Rick Knox. It just
looking like a.
It doesn't make
looking
sense.
more like Uncle Fester every day.
Basically 2 weeks in a row.
More than Dr. Luther.
They've buried 2 tag teams that they're supposed to. Well, SCU was already out on the outs because I think Christopher Daniels is just probably like, I'm starting to feel this now.
Yeah.
And it was actually, by the way, the only good part of BTE this week because it just started. It was a cold opening with him just being just being himself and talking about his career. And, how he was talking about, like, did I get the chance to have the career I thought I had? No, which, Chris, it's not true. You've had a legendary career. Don't ever shit on yourself like that. But it's one of those things where, like...
Especially with the longevity.
He's been amazing.
4 decades.
He's been amazing.
Man.
And so in 2 weeks straight, you've basically destroyed 2 of your tag teams. Sorry, in 3 or 4 weeks, you've destroyed 3 of them because a couple weeks ago, who was it that they fucking pretty much buried?
Was it Bear Country? No.
No. I can't even remember because they've buried them now.
Yeah.
So
they also buried the quote-unquote best tag team in the world.
Yes.
But that was months ago.
Like I said, I get when people tell me, like, well, Vince just doesn't care. Yeah, but we get that because we just don't see tag team wrestling a lot. On WWE, we get that he just doesn't give a shit.
He just ignores tag team wrestling. The Bucks are straight up like we're the only thing good in tag team wrestling, and I'm like not so certain, boys. But I mean, Jesse, think about that for a second. You are handed on a silver platter.
Yeah, no, I know.
A guy, and by the way, for those of you, I'm never gonna say Brian Pillman was Stone Cold Steve Austin. But Brian Pillman is a well-known name.
Absolutely.
And was somebody that was well-loved in the wrestling business.
Absolutely.
Brian Pillman had a pretty good run in WWE and a fairly decent run in WCW.
And a really excellent run in ECW.
Yeah, but it's like you got a guy whose career is at least still talked about.
Yeah.
His direct name son is there. You've put him in a tag team with a fairly decent prospect, but you couldn't have just... Here's the deal. With that amount of money, you couldn't have said, okay, we're going to go get a couple teams off of Dark, or we're going to go find 4 more teams in Rancho Cucamonga, and we're going to just have the Varsity Blondes get some decent victories on some underneath talent.
Before you finish, so do we know if we pay his fiancée some money, we won't say how much, and we get her certain concoctions, we won't say what, that she can go do something about Rancho Cucamonga, California for us, so I don't ever have to fucking hear about. Sorry, last F-bomb. So I don't ever have to hear about it again.
At this point, we don't care.
I'm so sorry.
With all the Resident Evil playthroughs that are currently on YouTube, there's plenty of those rolling around.
There definitely is. I don't think we had to pay her.
I feel like she burned it down for the 2 times I've made her watch these.
She would.
But I digress on that. But it's just, but it's just okay. Jim Cornette laid it out, but here's the deal. I feel like it's common knowledge for any smart wrestling fan. You go get a couple of tag teams no one cares about. The Varsity Blondes get a couple of cheap victories. Then after 2 or 3 months,
the thing.
Then
They've already done that. You know where they do it?
On
the 2 shows they don't promote. I'm sorry. Can we get an applause?
Please. That's deserving of an applause.
Let's give them an applause for that.
Let's
give them an applause for that.
It's very deserving.
Ready, guys? Let's all give them an applause. Great job.
The soundboard's still on.
Excellent stuff, guys.
Okay, there we go.
Excellent stuff.
But Jesse, you could take Bear Country. Give them a cheap roll-up win on Bear Country. You could take the Jurassic Express. Give them a decent fought victory there.
Yeah.
You could take the Acclaimed and get them a stupid victory there.
I'm Jesse, buddy.
That's an inside joke on the show.
And check out his shirt. Show him your shirt.
There you go. Little funny bone drop here, folks. But no, Jesse. I just laid out 3 weeks of television that would have made the Blondes better before they got to the championship match, but you just give it to them just to bury them. So once again, you've proven that there's another tag team in AEW that why would I want to see them take the belts off you? Because you've already beat them.
It's one of those things.
They're literally just working their way through the tag team division until no one's left to beat them. And then they'll somehow just be like, hey, we're going to let them go because no one can beat us. And we're going to retire as the greatest.
What I feel is going to happen, it's not going to happen because what's going to happen is they're going to lose the titles to Mox and Eddie.
Who aren't even an actual tag team.
Not really.
It's two singles competitors brought together.
Hey, so if you don't like to be compared to WWE, why do what they do?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. You told us you were going to make tag team wrestling matter. Well, guess what? I'd rather watch WWE tag team wrestling.
That says a lot.
I'd rather watch Ray and Dominic tag team wrestling right now.
Well, we kind of have to since they're the tag champs.
Well, you know what? I want the smoke.
There you go.
They're excellent, though. But
I just want to point something out. Dominic gets a lot of shit, but Dominic...
He's grown, though, a lot.
Well, not only that, but Dominic... And it's strange because he's so much bigger than his dad.
Yeah.
Dominic gained what Ray was always brilliant at when he came to America, and that's why he's lasted this long. I don't know why. When Dominic's getting beaten up, I feel the sympathy that Vince always talks about. He got the sympathy factor that his dad was always famous for, but it's with twice the size.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm impressed with Dominic. That's why I'm okay with letting this roll.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So now we're done with this shit.
Okay.
I'm okay with this. I'm done with this. We're done because guess what? They're just going to give us the same shit to complain about next week because they don't do anything. By the way, to all you people out there who are like, you're bitching about AEW is starting to get a little bit redundant. I'm like, yeah, because that's Dynamite. But anyway.
There you go. What are we going to hit next now?
Ladies and gentlemen, I did mention it halfway through, though. It was kind of just, I threw it in there while Jesse was dropping his 80th F-bomb in 20 minutes. But
so sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, July 16th, the WWE returns to live television in front of fans. The Thunderdome is going to get picked up and thrown in the warehouse. Thank God.
They're doing SmackDown.
SmackDown will be the first one. Yep.
SmackDown Houston, and it's going to be full capacity.
I'm going to very much enjoy watching Pat McAfee.
And can I point something out?
That is going to be so much fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, the perfect, and here's the deal. Everyone's like, well, why not start with Raw? Because you need the tribal chief to be the first virgin thing they see. And honestly, he should open that show.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
If that's the first thing these fans see, and by the way, Alice and I were actually talking about this, debating a little bit. He might actually, for the first time, get a huge pop cheer when he walks out.
No.
Only because he's finally become something the fans wanted. But you're right, he's been such a dick. Yeah, it's been great.
Like WrestleMania showed, no, he's still gonna get booed pretty good.
But like I said,
he's been the best thing in pro wrestling.
We're getting back to normalcy. I love it.
In a lot of capacities.
And I can't wait for it. I'm so excited. From Raw to SmackDown to Money in the Bank, we're getting the live shows. It's going to be great. I'm actually almost getting teared up because we've been in this pandemic for so long. There was a point in time. Allison works in a movie theater. There was a period in time, and everyone knows this. The CDC didn't think theaters were ever going to come back.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't know. And for those of you out there, conspiracy theorists, we're not about to entertain you. We listen to science on this show.
We deal with facts.
Yes. But no, when you sat there and we started doing the show, and this is kind of some history from us, Leroy and I originally had a plan, one show per month, to gather all the information, and then we were just going to talk about stuff. We're going to review everything. That was going to be the plan. We're going to focus on some YouTube stuff. Jesse coming to our YouTube channel very soon.
I actually should hopefully have all my videos from last week up. I've had internet problems all week, so I should actually have. Yeah, I've got to yell at them, so I should hopefully have all that up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Blackness 89 coming to the 13 Card Subject Change podcast YouTube channel.
Angered me all week because I've been trying to put up the video of him getting the hot sauce deal, and it has not let me do it.
Yes. But anyway.
Well, I said I'm home Mondays if you need to use my internet.
For sure.
Anyway, Leroy and I both work at a place where, let's be honest, they said you're essential, you'll stay open. But we also remember the time when we were all waiting. I think it was a Thursday night. The next day was about to have an announcement. I don't know if it was from the CDC or from our local governor, but we were all anticipating 2-week shutdown. No one goes anywhere. We were all anticipating that. Now, it didn't happen. It was restrictive. We had to put the masks on, all this other stuff. Now, people are thankfully getting vaccinated at a very good rate. Yeah. People who are fully vaccinated can go out without a mask, can do things without a mask. You and I have been working without masks recently here.
Yep.
I do know someone whose grandfather recently got COVID, even though he was fully vaccinated. But, folks, the vaccination is probably why he's alive as opposed to dying from COVID.
Yes.
Yep.
But my point is this. This is choking me up a little bit because I get to – first of all, WrestleMania choked me up because they were there.
Yeah.
But – in the end, as it comes to a close, and this will be the one time that we'll talk about this in the capacity that we will, as it comes to a close, the Thunderdome era, MVP being Bayley, by the way.
Yep.
As the Thunderdome era of professional wrestling comes to a close, I give thanks to Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr. because he found a way to keep the product going. He found a way for us to be able to do this show, which has brought a lot of, I hate to say it, normalcy to our lives.
Yeah.
It's like the only consistent thing we have, which is great.
Yeah.
Besides work.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason, to quote your old landlord buddy, Aaron, there's a reason why they call it work. They have to pay you to be there. But it's just, we got to share to the whole world that, hey, for about a month, it was the only sport on TV.
Oh, yes.
And whether you watched it or you didn't, you sat there waiting for your stuff to come back, and we sat back and we're like, we got shit to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
And, as the Thunderdome era comes to an end, whether or not you liked the Thunderdome, whether or not you thought it was gimmicky, eyesore, whatever, Vince McMahon tried something to keep the show going, to keep the lights on. And yeah, you can give him shit about the cuts, but the cuts were back in that era where nobody knew what the hell was going to go on. No one knew what was going to happen. Jesse, talked earlier about the whole COVID situation in Japan. Everything got shut down. New Japan had no ability to do anything.
They couldn't do anything.
And so to think that the WWE was the only real thing we had, and yeah, AEW was there, but they called them a sloppy shop. They've had their issues, but they never owned their issues, where I think Vince did, because he made new protocols. He fixed the problem. They've been, and by the way, I ain't seeing this out of AEW, probably because of the Rancho Cucamonga kids. But WWE is at least telling people to get vaccinated.
That's true.
And they're not pushing it. They're telling you to do your part because it's the right thing to do.
Like I said, with them in the COVID stuff in the last year, they've been very, very good about it. They've had a lot less cases, unlike cough somebody else, including the COVID King, Y2J.
The COVID God, you should say.
COVID, yes, God.
He's above a king.
I'm sorry.
King.
When you get pushed off by MJF, you're no longer a god. I put you back in man status.
That's fair.
Okay. All right.
That's fair.
So it's one of those things. They've done a great job with that. Really, the Thunderdome has actually been.
They also recently cut ties with a former CZW Hall of Famer / referee, who apparently we found out was a crackpot.
But they've done a really great job. The Thunderdome actually wasn't the worst thing, because it allowed you as a fan, because apparently
and to think the Thunderdome was along for so long and Leroy never got in.
Actually, I forgot to apply again. But
so the vexing process works, is what you're saying.
Well, so
no, I had the possibility of getting in, but I tried and I never got in.
Okay. So the view that they gave you guys, apparently they gave people who got in, was that you could actually see it like a live show. So there were actually cameras that they were feeding out to the people who had the screen so they could react naturally.
Now everyone knows the controversy they had early on, but there's always a few bad eggs who are going to take advantage of something like that because, let's be honest, their life sucks and they need to find a way to, seem relevant. Everyone's like, well, you're doing this. I'm like, yeah, but I don't care if I'm relevant to 17 people or 17,000. It doesn't matter.
The Chris Benoit thing just made me chuckle because it was just like, there's always an asshole, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said before, I actually thought the Thunderdome was wonderful in the sense. The only thing bad about it, and this just goes back to sometimes Vince needs to. I know he has built relationships in.
Yeah.
But one thing I like about John Taffer from Bar Rescue, what he understands is sometimes you just got to be like, dude, I hate the job you're doing. You're gone. Like, I can't keep this up.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. Like, even I have to admit, it sucks. Mm-hmm. Kevin Dunn's camera work is just trash.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But outside of that, and then some of the sound pushing sometimes is not good.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the Thunderdome has been actually quite wonderful. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about that the fans are there getting COVID. Cough, cough, AAW. We decided to let a group of like 30 people sit together, and they're like, oh, no, they're spaced apart. They're totally spaced apart. And even though I can clearly see on screen, they're not spaced apart.
Well, and then it's like, at least Vince McMahon has never brought someone to an arena that I know of and said, "Oh yeah, first hour is going to be taped." First hour is going to be taped, but don't worry, your cheering will be added. By the way, that wasn't me making a joke, or that wasn't me stuttering, folks.
That's
actually how Tony Khan delivered the freaking message. Was awkward and like, yeah, but don't leave. You're still going to be the, y'all are still going to be the sound in the audience.
And people left anyway because you can't do that to them. So, yeah.
5 official refunds, but there was probably more people that just didn't even ask for refunds.
But, yeah, like I said, huge props to
$20?
WWE for that.
Yeah.
Because it also gave, even smaller companies, Ring of Honor, MLW, it gave them a palette of, this is how we can do this.
And by the way, with wrestling being the only sport, and I guarantee that this helped, ladies and gentlemen, as of this Friday, MLW live on Vice.
Yes.
Can't freaking wait to stay another hour on television and watch me some Vice with some MLW, because, folks, if you want some of the best combat fighting you're going to get.
Some of the best peer performers in the game. Who will eventually probably be in WWE, since they now have that deal in place.
Well, MLW said, you want to take MJF? It's a pretty big loss because he's probably the best heel in the business, but we'll keep Hammerstone. We'll keep Jacob Fatu. We'll keep Scott Norton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, the 3 men that I just mentioned, if they showed up on Dynamite one night, they're already bigger stars than anybody in the company. But seriously though, if I can go off on a slight tangent, you look at Alexander Hammerstone. How do you not get Alexander Hammerstone on your television? Of all people. Yeah. Jacob Fatu, because he was champion, maybe I get. But Alexander Hammerstone was sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Of major note, no pun intended, in Major League Wrestling.
Yeah.
And you didn't think to buy him for a couple of dates? That guy walks on your TV screen, all of a sudden the casual viewer was like, I'll watch him.
He looks like a star. He looks like a
and
star.
By the way, I can also point something out. You sit here and you talk about how, we kept all these people employed during a pandemic, blah, blah, blah. How about the stars of Ring of Honor who didn't have much to do for a while?
Yep.
Where were they?
Yep.
Were you paying them for some special appearances? No. Before Ring of Honor came back, they were doing nothing because guess what? You didn't freaking want them because guess what? And I'll say it live. The Young Bucks will never, ever work a show with the Briscoe brothers because they can't keep up with the Briscoe brothers.
No, they can't.
No.
It'll never.
No, they can't. They don't even touch. They don't touch the tippy toes of their boots.
The Briscoes would do it because the Briscoes would probably make more money than they've ever made.
I'm about to say they would make a lot of money doing it. Yeah.
The Bucks would never do it because even if the Bucks were slated to win, the Briscoes would never work that style of match.
No.
Because the Briscoes, even if it's a match where they're getting paid more than they've ever gotten paid, they ain't going out like no bitches.
No. No.
Yep.
They ain't doing that.
And then also another.
Jacob Fatu got better during the COVID era.
Yeah.
And that's saying
a lot.
something.
Oh yeah.
But and then also
Check it out live on Vice. I believe 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Every 10 o'clock Eastern time every night on every Friday night on Vice. Follow SmackDown.
Yeah.
Once again, somebody said we're not going to go directly against SmackDown. But here's the deal: I would rather watch.
I got a feeling.
I would rather watch Fusion than Rampage. That's
that's not even.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. You're not fighting the WWE. You're fighting MLW. That's the thing we never even talked about.
Because Vice will probably just put replays on their YouTube channel probably like the next day. Like I said before,
that's a topic we should really get. Leroy, put this down for next week. MLW versus AEW, because that's finally going to happen. They're fighting for viewership. WWE ain't fighting for shit no more because they don't need it.
No.
All right, it'll be on the list.
All right, perfect.
We'll have
perfect.
But like I
that's
said,
our first card next week.
Big credit to WWE. Because I actually gave AEW credit at first. And I hate that line about, we kept all of our people. Guess what? So did New Japan. They didn't work for 6 months, though.
Yeah.
But even on that basis, New Japan still paid them even though they weren't working. So you didn't even do the best in the world as far as keeping your people and paying them.
Well, not only that, but it's like, what were you really doing with them anyway? I mean, yeah, you paid people to make sure they had a paycheck even though they weren't working, but it was the same 24 people week in and week out, but your roster was supposedly 86 people, and the only person you've ever officially cut ties with was because if you didn't, people were going to look at you sideways and be like, really? You kept Jimmy Havoc, who was only there because he was friends with Kip Sabian, and was only there because he was a big star on the indies that AEW just picked every indie dude they could find. The sad part is you didn't get the best. You got the next best.
Turns out he was a piece of crap. Anyway, but yeah, so big credit to WWE, big credit to, and you know what, big credit to New Japan, who I think even though they weren't
New
around
Japan
for 6
handled
months,
it the best they could with their situation.
Well, and
everybody was in a weird situation with.
Well,
COVID.
here was the thing: New Japan couldn't do anything in Japan. But they brought Strong back early. People forget that. They actually brought Strong back early.
They did.
Because they knew in Los Angeles they didn't need fans there to do the shows.
Right.
So big credit to New Japan, who were like, you know what, we'll keep Strong going because that keeps our viewers going.
Your thoughts, Leroy, your thoughts on the Thunderdome era before we get to our last topic.
Oh,
we had a few more, but once again, AEW
I enjoyed it.
Brought so much stuff to our table.
Oh, I know. Well, we can rip through a couple of them real quick too.
We'll do it next week. We got.
But no, I enjoyed it.
We got time.
I loved it. I mean, it was entertainment
I also
for me.
think you got to watch a lot of
good
people
idea.
learn. I think what you watched was for the first time you got to see a lot of those dark matches.
You do.
That we never saw before the fans were in the building.
Yeah.
So people had to really learn how to be a performer. Now, it's really interesting. Think about this. That SmackDown will be the first time a lot of superstars have actually been live in front of fans, period.
True.
That is true.
That's actually a straight fact.
That's actually very true.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yes, AEW is going to be on the road as well, but they're going to be the ones that we're going to talk about. Put this down for next week too. Let's talk about AEW with crowds back and see how that's going to change.
Oh, yeah.
With what their TV was. Because here's the deal. WWE's crowds will be fine. I'm not worried about their live crowds. I'm a little bit concerned about, because remember, AEW was slowly having an issue with the crowds before the pandemic hit,
true.
and before it hit a bottomed out low on live attendance. Because you remember the stories, blocking off half the arena with curtains, moving the hard camera. Jesse, they were about to have to deal with a bad live attendance.
Yeah.
the pandemic almost helped them with it. I'm serious.
Well, yeah, because then they went to studio mode, and then, of course, when they went to Daly's place.
Well, it's easy when you got like 50 paid fans to come in there. You think they were making money off those tickets? Hell no.
To be fair, people could also say that about NXT, but it was already known.
Well, but NXT was mostly the people that were already there.
Well, yeah.
But here's the deal. NXT being the training stuff, it made sense because you at least got these people out there to see what it's like for people like an Adam Cole, like a Johnny Gargano, to wrestle, to show them how it's done. So I actually didn't hate that because, if anything, it was another version of I'm watching the inner workings of a wrestling school,
also,
which was kind of a unique dynamic.
One thing besides the Kevin Dunn's camera shit, the one thing that WWE still does better, and I don't understand how AEW hasn't gotten this right yet. So when I watch entrances, that it matters.
Oh yeah,
like it matters, and the color schemes and all that, like those things matter. Like I never hated the first set of LED boards they did because people forget they actually started it in like 2009, and they started with SmackDown. And they used to use kind of the different color schemes for the wrestlers as they come out. Of course, the Titantron used to have their best moves and all that.
Yeah.
A little bit of storytelling on those, and then they just kind of Vince said, "Screw it, let's just do their names, some good coloring, and that should work." And by the way, in the end, he was right about that. I do miss the old Titantrons, to be fair, but I grew up in that day, So
it was fun.
It was a lot of fun
watching that. Yeah.
So when I watch AEW, the only one to me that has a really excellent entrance outside of Sting and Darby Allin is probably Jon Moxley. And maybe Cody when he does like a big entrance. Like otherwise, like the entrances suck. That like there's really, I mean, there's a color scheme, but you don't see because they always had the bright lights on like at all times.
Yeah.
Like dimming lights, giving a color scheme like that. Like the Dark Order. When I see the Dark Order, and I hear the theme, which I like the theme a lot. That's another theme that they did themselves that I actually do like. Shouldn't they be coming out to just pure purple lighting? Like they even as a babyface, like Undertaker was a babyface when he came back as a dead man for the last time, but he was still the Undertaker. So you put him in this dark, kind of like cold lighting. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. Like a year and a half in, and you guys still don't get that. Like I said, once again, he was absolutely right. They seem to try to do a lot of things that New Japan does. New Japan has to run certain shows like that because some of the shows New Japan runs are in literal gymnasiums that they get extra seating for so they can fill it with a couple of thousand people. Otherwise, it would probably only seat like 2,000 people to begin with. So they do the best that they can with the entrances.
Yeah.
But when they're in their arenas, you see that New Japan's production is off the charts excellent.
Oh, yeah.
That's something they need to improve as well. You want to get off of TBS that you're going to go to for a year, for damn sure. They need to fix that because that when I see Lance Archer, his entrance should be these bright red colors because he's always bringing someone down that he beat up, which is no problem.
Murder Hawk.
Yeah, it goes with the name.
He should.
He
should.
And then something bright red when he gets in the ring, like New Japan kind of used to do for him, because it makes sense. He used to come out. He was actually worse than Minoru Suzuki because he would come out. He wouldn't just beat up the young boys. Yeah. He tried to beat up the camera people, the security with the fans. But it matters. That presentation matters.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Also, it's interesting. I think the COVID era forced AEW to not only realize that they're not what they are, because I think if COVID doesn't happen, the honeymoon lasts a little longer for the EVPs.
Yeah.
But I think what it also did, and they'll never admit this to the day they die, they'll take it to their grave. They finally realized maybe it's not all Vince's fault. Maybe a lot of it is Vince has to answer to so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, success means saying no more than it means yes.
Yeah.
And I'm serious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
the only person I think who understands that now, the two people in that, is Tony Khan at this juncture. Tony Khan's getting it because, like I said, some of the better stuff happening.
He's getting there.
He's getting
there.
And Cody seems to be real close to understanding. Okay, I see why Vince told me no a lot. Like, I see why Vince did certain things.
So
because remember, Vince worked with Dusty even when he came back and was doing NXT.
Yeah,
he loved working with Dusty because Dusty used to say, like, Vince might give you a ton of it's criticism.
Yeah.
And it seems to seem harsh, but it's very constructive because Vince also he answers the TV execs.
Yeah.
So he has to make this work.
And remember, TNT has put their foot down a lot more recently.
Oh, than they did with WCW. Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. WCW had a lot more freedom because of Eric.
They did.
Tony Khan doesn't have the cachet that Eric had.
He does not.
So it's like it's going to be interesting coming out of the era what TNT wants now that there's live crowds. But I'm looking forward to live crowds everywhere. Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. NXT was great this past week. Cameron Grimes proves once again that he's a goddamn genius. He is literally, and I'll say it, don't at me, he's one of the best things in wrestling right now.
Oh yeah.
He took a major news story and turned it into a $1 million man segment. And it's been so good. I love it.
Literally and figuratively.
So much. I love it.
Well, they're gonna have the face off this Wednesday.
Yep. Finn and Karrion once again. Hard hitting. It hurts to watch. Love it. Everrise is starting to become one of my favorite things.
They're starting to grow. They're starting to grow.
They're starting to grow like a fungus I want.
Yeah.
The new North American champion too.
That was so good.
What a great match that was.
Bronson Reed, in my opinion, once he's done with Johnny, might be working with LA Knight.
Yeah.
Which will be a lot of fun to watch.
I said the word, so I'll say it properly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Velveteen Dream is no longer there. He only has himself to blame.
He was going to be a huge star, and Shawn Michaels, like they said back then, he probably should have been fired 7 times over.
Here's the difference, though. While Velveteen was good, he was still never Shawn Michaels.
Well, here's the point.
He was still never Shawn
about
Michaels.
That. Shawn Michaels should have been fired 7 times over.
Yes,
but Shawn also could draw in such a way that Vince just was like, screw it, I have no choice but to put him out there.
Yeah.
Even if Brett was in the end, even Vince had to admit, even though they all kind of, the situation with Brett and all that, he even admitted, Brett was actually, right back then I wish I would have listened to Brett because Brett was right. Shawn was a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And I should have put him in line. And Shawn was like, I needed the kick in the butt back then.
Yeah.
So the back injury actually did him a lot of good back then.
Yeah.
The problem with Velveteen Dream is that I don't think he ever realized, like, because Triple H was trying to do what Vince didn't do back in the day. Vince, what I see Triple H and Shawn do with these young, the talent that they have in NXT, is they punish them, but they try to get them to understand why.
It's the old statement: you want better for your kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because and you could tell when anytime they do anything good, like Triple H takes a picture and you see the backstage of Triple H, he's so proud of them.
Oh,
because it's like his own kid. Like he's so proud of them.
So
yes.
And
but
the problem was he didn't.
I'm not going to go I just don't want to go too deep into this. I just want to say you have only yourself to blame, Patrick Clark, and wish you luck in your future endeavors. I don't know who's going to touch you for maybe about 6 months.
No one.
Yeah.
Let that wear off. The return of Aleister Black, I loved it.
Ugh.
All the way from the continuity of the glass eye to there was no music, so it was actually a shocker.
Yeah.
Proves, and there's rumors that his wife may be coming back.
Actually, it's starting to become pretty crystal clear that she actually signed a new deal with them.
Yeah.
I think what people need to understand.
I'll say before you finish that.
Yeah.
I do want to say, and because I did say it before to you 2 weeks ago, and I said it last week.
Yeah.
Overall, while she did get released, she won because she was right. She was right to fight for what she fought for.
100%, but at the same time, they were right to fire because again, she still
violated
violated a contract.
Well, she violated the contract, so they had to fire her.
Yes.
But in the end, the fact that she's getting brought back proves she was right.
No. I was always on her side. My biggest thing is there's the Selena Vega way of doing it. Tia Trinidad, I apologize.
Yeah.
There's her way of doing it. And then there's the Xavier Woods way of doing it.
Which was to just get himself under the WWE umbrella.
Exactly. Because here's the deal. Everyone was up in arms except for him. You want to know why? Because a long, long time ago, he just did it.
Yeah.
And and by the way, I don't think he's ever really been that restricted. He kind of still does what he wants.
About to say up, down, down. He's pretty much free. Besides swearing, he's pretty much free to do whatever he wants on up, down, down. So and then it's got him a hosting job now in G4.
Yeah.
Which is it actually on any cable network? Does anyone know? I was looking for it. I was looking for it through Spectrum and couldn't find it.
It used to be, but
Shinsuke Nakamura, ladies and gentlemen, whoever gave Shinsuke the cape, raise. Whoever just said, "Hey, Shinsuke, go be Shinsuke again."
Yeah, right. Raise.
Thank you.
And take Corbin's crown. Thank you.
Shinsuke's a goddamn genius.
That.
And by the way,
God.
the whole heavy is the head that wears the crown. Shinsuke's a flippin' genius.
Yeah.
I love Jesse. As great of a legend as he is in New Japan, he was never meant to be in New Japan. He was meant to be in America the whole time. He was so better than New Japan. I'm sorry. Shinsuke is I love him. And folks, here's the deal. We'll be announcing more dates coming up here, but there will be some Sundays where there will be no show. The reason why we'll be at local MAW shows, giving you more interviews, more content for our YouTube channel. We might play some of the clips here on the actual show, but ladies and gentlemen, local shows are back in the Midwest. Midwest All-Star Wrestling. First Wrestling's already been back.
Yeah.
Go over to Darren Corbin's fan page. He's announced he's going to a couple of shows. Darren Corbin is back. Can't wait for that.
He's back giving cutters again, son of a bitch.
He's back giving ginger snaps.
Sorry. Ginger snaps. Now I'm going to earn a ball shot.
Yep.
Devon Monroe. Well, I might still get hit. Devon took the first one.
Yep.
Eric took the second of many that he has done.
But folks, we are getting back to a sense of normalcy. The only thing that I want to say is we can have fun, but let's be smart about it because this won't be hard unless we make it hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this was a great show. Loved it. Thank you for having me back, boys. Once again, I was very proud of both of you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on Podomatic.com, Spotify, our YouTube channel as well. Jesse, are you back up on Twitch yet?
Yes. So I have been doing some live stuff on Twitch.
Okay.
Twitch.tv/Jay's Take Community Channel.
There we go.
It sounds exactly how it's spelled, or it's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Close enough.
I will actually
Vince Russo writing here, folks.
Right. I will actually be I will be live tonight doing a quick little 30-minute kind of show, just kind of talking to people about pro wrestling and some entertainment stuff.
One of these Fridays, I'll have to come over and you and I will finally have our
I am
debates.
so close to actually having such a great setup that Leroy has that I'm actually confident that in the next 2 weeks I should be ready to put it back up at least a couple days a week.
Let's do it.
Ladies
and gentlemen, thank you all for listening. Please go subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all these wonderful places. We will see you guys all next week. What a wonderful show. Thank you all, and we will talk to you next time.
Yeah.